afternoon, good evening, and good day, everybody. It helps if you're in the right room before you hit go live. Otherwise, it tries to put you somewhere else. Good evening, Anders. And let's see, Robert Williams also sent us a message. Happy birthday! Happy birthday! And hello to Exotic Geeks. Okay, so first up, we've got a Facebook post, just because I want that to not be beeping and bopping throughout the show. Hello, Zachary. Good to see you. Okay, so let's push this share screen and we'll jump into it. Oh, hello, Allison. Good day. I don't know what part of the world you're in. Could be evening, could be morning. All right, so let's see. Share screen. We're going to share this Facebook post. I think this is the right one. Yes. Oh, they have previews now. How nice of them. There we go. So in Africa, in Kenya, they've launched this locally designed and produced electric bus. And like I always say, electrify all the things. And this is awesome. I thought it was pretty cool. So I wanted to share that. So Opibus, let's take a look at them real quick. So I've read some of the articles, and others will be reactions because I didn't get to them in time before the show started. So let's see. Let's search these guys up. So opibus.se, standard for electric mobility in Africa. See, this is the other cool thing, is when you do stuff locally. Oh, it didn't. Sorry. It's always doing this to me. I pull up a link and then it opens in a new tab. So I'm talking about it and you guys are just seeing the search window. So here we go. Paste and go. So, yes, so locally produced means you're not shipping stuff all the way around the world. It also means jobs locally, and you know, what better way than helping your neighbors, literally, and them helping you back. This is really cool stuff. It's nice. I wonder what are these American dollars? Because if so, that's a good price. All right, you got a motorcycle. All right, so it looks like a lot of these are conversions, which is cool. Nothing wrong with the conversion. And they've got their own energy grid system. That's good. Nice. All right, let's see. We got some more. Oh, Seattle. So good morning. Andrew says happy birthday to Robert Williams. Perfect. All right, let's next let's jump into some recalls. They're not really that big a deal this time around. Kind of similar to the where actually less of an issue to where the government said, hey, why don't you just do like this if your camera's not working? These are going to be corrected with software, and because the manufacturer in both of these cases is Tesla, you don't have to even drive it anywhere to get the software installed. I'm finding that a lot of the traditional manufacturers that can do FSD, that can do OTA, they only do it for new features and for the infotainment system. They, for either because they're contractually unable to do it or because they want to avoid that fight, they let the dealers hook you up for the actual repairs. So since these are Tesla, just one day your car will say, hey, do you want to install this now? And you can say when you want to install it. But before we get to that, hey, Chris, long time no see. I watched a couple of your videos as you put them out the other day. Take a look at his channel if you want to learn about photography. And let's see, Africa could be a prime spot for solar. I agree. In fact, the Sahara is one of the best places for it. With the only disadvantage to the Sahara being access, and so that makes it so that it probably won't happen in the Sahara. But just like here in North America and in Europe, rooftop is great. You've got all this empty roofs doing nothing, and then same as we do here in North America, you can just do fields of solar if you wanted to. And what we're finding is that when you do install ground mount solar, it can actually help plant life and animal life grow because they're providing partial shading, and you can grow crops in underneath the shade for ones that can't handle that direct sunlight. I don't know that would work in the high desert, but in some areas that are marginal, you can actually we found with some studies that they actually help you get more yield out of it, which is really cool. All right, so back to these recalls. These are the only ones I know about, other than a Bridgestone tire email that came across. Let me pull up my email and see if that's still in there. It is. Okay. So NHTSA emailed me to say Bridgestone Tires America Tire Operations is recalling certain Firestone Transforce HT size LT 275 by 7018 with DOT code Victor November 15 Tango Hotel 71821 and Transforce AT. So if you've got these tires, you might want to take a look and see if you're in this recall. I have the NHTSA set to email me on all tires and any of the cars that I've ever owned. So what was weird for me was I got a email from them earlier in the week that wasn't something I already knew about. Typically what happens, oh my goodness. Thank you, Derek. That is amazing. Appreciate it. So in the beginning of the week, I got an email from HDSA about my Model X, and typically they don't give me any information I don't already know about the vehicle itself, and so that was a surprise to me. And then I scrolled through, and it was my car. It wasn't like, hey, maybe this doesn't apply to you. It was. So let's start. Which one we're gonna start with here? Yeah, we're starting with that one. So it was because my car is an FSD beta. They don't know that, but because my car can take FSD beta, they sent me the email, and what that is regarding is the way that the car, in all settings but chill mode for FSD, can do a rolling stop, a California stop, as those are the two common ways to call it. I guess the third way would be an improper stop that will get you a ticket. And that's one I've been complaining about because the way the car drives in chill mode for my Metro is completely uncomfortable. It's too slow. It feels like it'll get run over and or have somebody start a road rage incident on me. So what I've been doing is if I'm coming to a stop that the car has, and these are very specific conditions, the car has to be able to clearly see the whole intersection. There has to be no pedestrians, no other cars, and it has to be certain sets of speed limits and certain styles of intersections. And then if all of that is met, and the car rolls up to an empty stop, it's got 8 eyes. It's looking all around constantly, and it has already determined it to be clear. It would come down to about 5 to 3 miles an hour, and then keep going. And I mean, I'll admit that I have done that sometimes, but I don't want the car to do it. And so that was something that I was always hovering the brake. Not that I often get to a stop where there's nobody around that actually qualifies. That's 2 or 3 times a month, just because there's so many people here. Um, Now, in the next software update, which has already started to be pushed out, FSD Beta 10.10, they've removed that from all drive modes, so I don't have to put it in turtle mode to be sure that I'm not going to break that particular law. I have noticed that my car, when the wipers are on, it does not necessarily turn on the headlights anymore, and I know that this car and my previous car both did that, so I don't know if that's a bug, or maybe they rescinded the white lights on wipers on law, or wipers on lights on law here, but I don't think they would have done that, and there have been people questioning it in places where the law is still in effect. So I'm going to find another way to report this bug to them. I don't know, maybe open a service ticket or something, because I have emailed the FSD beta team on it, and it's persisted through several versions. Exactly, and California stops happen all the time here in California by ice cars. Nothing new here, and I don't think that this was as huge a deal as people were making out to be. I saw a headline that said, "Oh my goodness, Tesla's roll stops," or not. They didn't say they roll stop signs. Tesla's run stop signs, which is, if you get literal, yeah, that's true. But if you get by the implication of what they're saying, not rolling, running a stop sign implies that you don't do any slowing, stopping, or looking. It's 40 miles an hour. I'm gonna go through this stop sign. That is not the case. A California stop is completely different than running a stop sign. They'll get you the same ticket. One might get you roughed up by the cops. The other will definitely just get you a ticket. But uh, that was irresponsible reporting by that large news organization. They should have put it, rolling stop in the headline. It's an extra word, I understand, but they already used enough words. They could have found another way to write that without riling up the public. And in a comment on that, somebody pointed out that, well, when you're funded by a lot of advertising, especially auto advertising, and this other company that you already are predisposed to treat as a punching bag doesn't advertise with you, uh, the gloves are off, which is irresponsible. And I think that kind of, and I'm hoping that it's the headline writer and not the article writer, that can damage your credibility when it becomes needed the most. Like if you're writing on something that's a little more on edge. Give way, not stop. We have signs for both. Yeah, we have yield signs, and that's basically what the car was doing. Is it was doing a yield to the empty intersection rather than a than a stop. The circular stop. Bring it to zero. Keep going. And it wasn't doing that. And well, it wasn't doing that if you were in the other two drive modes, normal or assertive. And so in chill mode, it was doing it. All right, so the second recall is one that I actually had the opposite. Oh, and let me open that back up. Sorry. Before we go on to the second recall, that was 53,822 cars included in that recall, which means that there's almost 60,000 people in FSD beta. That is incredible. If we remember back to when it was under 1,000 people just less than a year ago, that's awesome. All right, so now let's go on to the next one here. Let's share this article or tweet, really. So mine is the opposite of this. Tesla recalls 817,143 U.S. vehicles because the audible chime may not activate when the vehicle starts and the driver has not buckled their seatbelt. So let's look at a video I shot earlier in the week, or not shot, but published earlier in the week. Yeah, me. Yeah, me. Still me. Keep going. This one. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen. I guess I was already sharing my screen. I'm going to share this screen, and then I'm going to go to the right chapter marker. So I put chapters in all of my videos where they make sense. And it helps for stuff like this. All right, so after I clean the camera, you see me come back in and buckle up. And Luna never unbuckled her seatbelt. But watch this. We just had a pretty good snow, so that's why the camera's dirty. And why the car's having trouble seeing. Hear that? All right, so let's try another one. That is the seatbelt beeper that you get when somebody's not buckled. And there were only two people in the car, and there was nothing heavy in the back seats. So I have the opposite problem. My car tells us to put the seatbelt on when everybody is fully buckled. All right, so let's put this one back on screen. But again, that one is... these are important, but I don't know that they are... It's a lot different than the kind of recalls for, like, hey, the airbag is full of shotgun shells, or the car may catch fire, or the brakes don't work, or the tires are gonna deflate or whatever. These are the kind of headlines. These are the kind of recalls that require a breathless headline. I don't know about these simple software fixes. I mean, yes, definitely you do want to notify the public because say you have I know a lot of children that don't like to be confined, and the first thing they do, mom and dad buckle the seatbelt, and when they're not paying attention, boom, it comes off. It's a phase, but and you would want to know that this is happening so that you can be aware and make sure that the kid stays buckled. But I don't know that it requires a front page article with 30-point type, or sorry, 72-point type, screaming about how the car is going to kill you, because it's not. All right, let's see. Sad unconscious commentary when Casey notes a serious traffic infraction may get you roughed up by the cops. Sad, but sadly accurate. I agree, and it should not be this way. But I'm noticing worldwide, there's a lot of physical escalation that should not be there for stuff that, I mean, I understand if somebody is assaulting somebody else, yeah, you might want to rough them up to get them off of the person that's being assaulted. But for a clerical issue, it they have the wrong level of response most of the time. In my neighborhood, I've seen a few drivers run the stop sign as I'm approaching the stop or was stopped. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this week I saw at least 10 vehicles just blow through a completely solid red light. And you can't tell me that, oh, this is extended green, blah, blah, blah. Because if my light is green to go across their path and they're still passing me, like in the way, then I know they ran a red light. Because I wouldn't get a green if they still had a right of way green. If they had the flashing yellow or the yielding green, okay, maybe, but it was not that. And the red lights are, those are generally higher traffic intersections, so that's even more of an issue than a stop sign, which is usually lower speed, lower traffic. Yeah. My wife's friends refuse to buck up when they are in the back seat. It makes me crazy. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people like, oh, it's not the law to buckle up in the back seat. It's like, yeah, I don't want you coming through the front front window over something minor. Yesterday, I was on a trip to Maryland, and 4 times in the trip, we ended up with extremely heavy braking to the point where I had stuff on the seats that were no longer on the seats; they were on the floor after hitting the back of the seat. I should probably get a headache rack installed in my car. Um, and twice it was my command, and twice it was FSD, and all 4 times was somebody jumping out into our lane without looking. 2 of them signaled, 2 of them did not. They just yanked the wheel and started to go slowly. I don't mind people getting in front of me if they can, not cause me to slow down. And these weren't emergencies; these were just people impatient at, they picked the wrong lane, and people in front of them were turning left or going slow or whatever, and they copped an attitude, and they yeah, and that's. I mean, if that had been a human in the seat instead of a bag of tools or some parts, and if they were in the middle seat, for instance, instead of where they could hit the back of my seats, they that could have been a person through the windshield, and it would not have been. For one, it was avoidable, and two, it would have been unnecessary because the seatbelt would have stopped that, and also if the person had been driving like they had some sense, it would also have not been an issue. In my case, it was a physical stop sign, not a light. Yeah. My first ticket in '89 was because I didn't stop long enough. Yeah, that's another thing that I'm wondering. Now that they've got that in there, some I think a lot of cops are fine as long as you just hit 0 on the speedometer, and others, like you said, they want to see you stop for a beat to look around. But I think that if you explain to them that the car was driving and look, it's got 8 sensors and it came to 0, I don't know that even if the cop didn't accept it, I don't know that the judge would keep it, because you did stop, you did verify the intersection was clear, and then you started going again. Anyone weighing more than a coffee cup, people, gear, etc., must be secured for safety. Exactly, and I probably should have put that gear in the trunk or on the floor in the first place, but it was a plastic tub of computer tools and this GoPro bag. But if it was anything fragile or something I thought that could hit me and cause an issue, I definitely would have made more care to secure it. Like if I had like a computer monitor back there or some lawn tools or something. Same here, Robert. I've been pulled over a couple times. Once at gunpoint, once with the holster unlatched, which was just as bad as the first one, because the first one was the one at gunpoint, and never got a ticket. I got a couple warnings. Some of them were actual real warnings, and others just because they were. I guess they didn't like the look of my jib. Yeah, let's avoid the. I'll tell you guys the story if I haven't already on the gunpoint pullover later. Not today. I'm not in the mood for that. So let's move on to happier stories. Well, I guess Not really happier, but more interesting stories. This one's actually kind of disappointing, depending on who you are. We've been waiting on the ID Buzz, the Volkswagen Micro Mini electric van, for 10 years now, isn't it? Wow, a decade. And they've been teasing us with these spy shots and concepts and etc. Well, some folks were managed to get a spy shot of the production interior. I'm guessing that the engineer or test driver or whoever didn't properly cover up the dashboard. So let's take a look at this. This is coming from Autoblog. That steering wheel looks nice. The interior, I mean, it's about what they promised. It's a little lower quality materials than I would have expected. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, I would drive this, but they what they showed us wasn't this. This is photo two. Let's see what photo one is. That's photo nine. Oh, okay. Go to photo two. Okay. I really don't like the look of these seats. I mean, it's fine to put the car name on them, and it's fine to have a two-tone. I don't like this color combo, and the pleated. I've noticed the pleating, and pleated fake leather, pleated real leather, or pleated cloth in this case. The armrests look a little narrow for North America. Hopefully, they have different armrests in North America. That's what I'm saying about that. I do like that they've got a little bit of leg support there. That's nice. This center console, one that tells us that the car seats won't swivel like the concept, which we didn't really expect that the front seats would swivel around. But it also was not off the table because we see it all the time in van life builds, and well, you're not going to be swiveling the seat around that unless it comes out or something first. I like that they kept the play and pause pedals. Of course, now they should just have a lightning bolt. Use my term. Lightning pedal. It's free for use. Lightning pedal. And then the pause. It's got two position memory seating. That's pretty cool. Although, if they'd made that in the computer, they could get more than two positions because, as we see with Tesla, you can have as many seat positions as you can have drivers. I like that the rear seats fold flat. I'm still disappointed that they don't have that lounge function that they showed us. Looks like it slides as well. It's got rails. Nice. I like that there's a tonneau cover. I hope it's standard and not an accessory. And they've got rear power port. That's something I use rather more frequently than I expected to on the Model X. I don't know what this is. And some sort of looks like it might have a rear air conditioner, which is nice, or maybe a vacuum or something. I don't think you need a vacuum in a 5-seat van, but if this has got the rear seat, then yeah. And then picture 9. Oh, nice. It's got like a you can raise the floor up to make it match the seats, and it's got a little table if you're tailgating, and I, I wouldn't be surprised to see there's an underfloor storage area either. So it's nice, but it's not what we were expecting, was it? All right, let's see what you guys say here. Uh, Traveling through Arizona, I got pulled over for speeding in my Model 3. Trooper was in an unmarked car. Yeah, I don't like the unmarked cars. I really don't. Armrests look like it. Yes, exactly. It looked like an airplane or like a train or something. It looked very utilitarian and didn't look comfortable at all to me. The romanticized memories of the VW bus were sort of rebuilt ones. Yes, but when over the last 10 years, as Volkswagen has been showing us this vehicle, they've been showing us not this. You've seen them, right, Marcus? Where they had like the lounge seats that spun around and the.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't expect 100% of what they showed us, but I expected some of it to actually appear, other than the general shape of the car.
Yeah.
Especially after 10 years. I figured, oh, maybe it's just hard to do all the stuff they promised. No, they didn't care. Robert says hi.
Hey.
Oh man, so this is it's going to be a good car. I just feel that with 10 years they had a chance to not get our hopes up and to get this going right. And That ain't it, Holmes. I am looking forward to the cargo version of this because this looks like it'll be great for contractors and small businesses and van life because now at that point you can make it yourself what they promised you. And not having the windows kind of helps so you don't have to worry about people peeping in, and also helps with your energy management. You got insulation to keep the heat out or in, and it's the way to go. The AZ Trooper had never seen a Model 3 before, so I spent some time explaining my car to him, and he let me off with no ticket. That's awesome. I like it was just my curiosity, like that one video we saw of the cop who's like, "You can't have a computer on your dashboard," and the guy's like, "It is the dashboard," and the cop's like, "Oh," and then they showed him how it works, and then they just went about their day.
Yeah.
For new ones, I don't see a large market. That's what I'm saying. Is if it was what they've showed us, this thing would sell like hotcakes with all the tiny house and nomad life and extreme fire and all these people that are now going for experiences rather than the biggest house, the fastest car, blah blah blah. A lot of folks are simplifying, and if they had given us what was promised, they would have sold every one. And with this, I think they'll still do well. It's just kind of like a bait and switch because it's not the same thing. Let me see if I can't get you some pictures of one of the versions of the concept. VW concept. Hopefully I find one of the historical pictures of it. All right, so yeah, here's some of the original ones. And of course it opens in a new window. So let's take this, close that, put it in the window we're actually looking at. I figured since it was a search that I clicked on that it would stay in the search window. This I don't know who did that one. Let's see if I click on these, do they open in new windows or do they stay? Okay, perfect. So one, it had more space. That's not a real one. That's one. Well, I expected it to have mirrors. They were trying, like you said, trying to remind us of the modified ones and that nostalgia. They did a lot of that. I don't even know if this new one has a skylight. And VW's made cars with skylights for years now.
That would be dope.
Yeah. So I need an interior shot of this thing. So here's a newer update of it. It was always going to be electric. Okay, so the dual sliders, I think they kept that. Here we go. So yeah, like the seats were on rails. Okay, so it was a little narrow thing there. So the seats were on rails, but look how far back the rear seat is. The rear seat is here now, and they had the double skylight, and you can see why I was disappointed when I saw this interior. The screen was bigger. I like that the screen is bigger though. Here's another shot.
Let me tell you what I think when I just seen that picture right there. It's just peaceful. You can just sit there,
Yeah.
have a nice good day, the beach,
The
the
other
sun.
one just exactly. The other one just looks like another car.
That is.
Yeah. So there's the concept of the cargo van. I think they're going to be very true to that, minus the mirrors. Except in Europe, they don't need the mirrors apparently. They got the rear view camera. I think this would be what most people will be able to use to fulfill their version of the promise when they build their own van. So let's see if there's another interior shot. This was another one they showed off. Was it being used as a camper, which was another. And look at the interior here. You got your 3 rows of seats. You got your camper top, and it didn't end up being like that either. Surfboards on top. I think they will keep that as an accessory. All right, so here was the interior they promised us up front. You got your play and pause pedal. All right, so there was that console, but it something about it looks different on the real car. But I didn't get that open airy feeling. I don't know. Maybe these are options, and that one was a base model. And they had their version of a square wheel, even before Elon got into yokes. Yeah, and so they showed us the wheel, with the tracks. You could turn it around. You could have a chat with your passenger when you were parked. Is that Robert Llewellyn or is that no? It's not Robert Llewellyn. That guy is familiar, but he's not Robert Llewellyn. The console could slide back, so you can control the features right there when you're parked in the back seat.
You have a business meeting in that thing.
Right, exactly. That's enough of me being disappointed at their execution. 6 seats do look possible where that little table tray thing was. I think there could be seats there. Whereas the bar looks like they could build one for the passengers. Exactly. So this is why I think that the cargo one is actually going to be the better, more popular one because you can do all of the stuff that they promised in the concept yourself. Especially with today's solutions, they have all of this stuff for van life, campers, micro homes, tiny homes, that sort of thing. And I think that we will still see this vehicle fulfill that promise. I was just expecting some of that promise to come forward from Volkswagen. And I know that sliding swivel seats are expensive, but they're not impossible. We have seen other production cars with it, and we see disabled access vehicles with it every day. And yes, it costs an extra $2,000 for each seat for the disabled access at a minimum. I've seen them from $2,000 to $10,000. Remember, I used to sell cars, and I did have to get a couple of them sent off to the mod shop so that way the owner could enjoy their new car. Some of them are really cool too. Exotic Geek says hello, and Robert sent me a YouTube link. I'll take a look. Oh, I see what happened. It scrolled to the top again. Why did it do that? Uh, yeah, the concept was way better, and this is what Elon is always ragging on these people about. It's like they make these really cool concepts, and then the actual car is significantly worse. Uh, Elon does the other way around. He wants it to be better than the concept. And Honda, I like their approach. They take the actual car, they put some fake mirrors, fake wheels, and a couple other little touches on them, and then they show you the real car. It's like, it's close enough. But at the same time, it's like I understand that concepts will change, so I don't mind if Honda were to show us something just a little bit crazy, just with most of the features intact. Like like say 80 to 80% of the features intact. Come on now. So is that what about the GMC Hummer? That one I think since they've already built one, I think they kind of have to make it match. Otherwise, they open themselves up for bait and switch, like literal bait and switch, not just like getting your hopes up and then not giving you that. Like literally, they didn't give you what they sold you,
Right.
even though there's only one sold that we know of so far.
Oh, it was? I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's one of the 28 cars they sold in September to December. One of them was a Hummer.
Was it to LeBron James or something? Or somebody?
I didn't get that far into
Okay.
it. If you find out, let us know.
Okay.
So here's another one of Tesla and safety or changes or whatever. Let's take a look. Sure, some folks will have some comments on this one. I get why they did it. It just seems perhaps they could have announced it a little better because. Oh, and this is an update on it too. So let me tell you what we know of it, and then we'll tell you the update. All right, so Drive Tesla Canada is saying that Tesla now monitors how often you adjust your seat position and will disable the controls when overused. And this is a very real thing that if you start playing with the motors on automobiles because of the type of motors they use for the seats and mirrors, doors, that sort of thing. If you they aren't built to be in motion all the time, and I get why they would tell you to take a little breather and figure out what you want before you keep on going, because they can burn out and then they're stuck wherever they end up. So let's see what the update is. Update. With the high amount of interest in this story, Green the Only dug into a little further to discover that the thresholds are 9. Okay, so he's just updating. So Green the Only found. Does he have a link to it? Yeah. So Green the Only said that the automaker recently added seat abuse metrics. So maybe they really did know that nobody was using the lumbar support. We said that Elon was just saying things so he could get rid of the part, because BMW also got rid of the part, and then if you didn't have it, they would give you a discount. Tesla did not give you such a discount, but maybe they did know. Uh, so if you move the seat too much, messages will pop up on the display like excessive use of seat track motor detected or seat track motor unavailable due to excessive use. Which is also really nice because if you do have children in the car and you look away for whatever reason, like maybe they're in the car and you're across the aisle grabbing their lunch or something, and they start, and then you get back and now you gotta pay $600 for a new seat motor. You won't be happy. I'm not saying that's how much the motor costs, but it's going to be the part and labor, and it's probably going to be about $600. It's the level of car that the Teslas are. Yeah. And so before the update, Green didn't say what the thresholds were, but apparently a lot of people asked. So Green found the thresholds, and 90 seconds of use in 5 minutes will trigger. Wow, that's excessive. Yeah, 90 seconds of the seat just in motion in 5 minutes is too much. So I don't blame them. 120 seconds of use in 5 minutes will disable the motor. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm fine with this personally. The way that the people were reacting and the way that it was kind of worded in some of the other places was like, like if you're getting in a loaner car for the first time and you don't know how you want it set up, like, oh, too many movements. I didn't think it would be that, but I figured it could be something near that, and this, yeah, that's somebody trying to melt your seat motors. Oh, and here are the tweets.
That's true.
This is a new premium seat only, so the base seats will remain Tesla only. New seat vendor for Model 3 and Y cars called Bros. This is in addition to the in-house seats that Tesla and Yefeng were using for made-in-China cars sometimes in conjunction with Tesla seats. Okay. I mean, I'm fine with it. Do y'all have any opinion on it? I use the C-track motor back and forth so I can clean the floor, but I don't know about the yeah. So unless you're moving them in 90 seconds for 5 minutes, or 120 seconds for 5 minutes where it turns off, I don't, like you said, I do move the seat all the way forward and all the way back to get underneath it because the way that they're situated, it's kind of hard to get under there if it's still in the way. So if you just push it out of the way in either direction, it's a lot easier to get to cleaning done. Yeah.
You think that's? I'm not for sure. You think that's with those motors? It's also goes with when you let it up and down as well.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I suspect it'd probably also be changing the seat profiles when you pick whose name it is. And so, like, if you were having a fight with somebody over who's driving the car today, and rabbit season, duck season, for 5 minutes, then then it's gonna have to whoever it was, it's their turn.
Yeah.
So then I came across a YouTube video. So let me copy this. You guys can watch it later, but we'll scroll through it. This one is from Engadget, and I was only listening to it at first, and I thought it was my friend Kyle Connor over at Out of Spec Motors, but it was not. His speech pattern is similar, and out the corner of my eye, they dress similar, and they were not the same person. I looked at it, I was like, oh, that wasn't him at all. Oh man, I shrunk it. So there's the video, and let's share the screen here. So this guy Roberto, he had a chance to take out the Ford Transit EV, the official one, not the one by Lightning Motors, for a spin, and he had some nice stuff to say about it, and he had some fair critiques. I thought it was an interesting video, and I think that Ford is one of the more serious legacy makers in the EV space, and I think they're going to succeed. Oh, I don't want that. There we go. Kind of thought I'd get some more interesting pictures clicking through this. Hey, is that thing? The ID buzz. But then there's also a conversion of the gas transit by Lightning Motors to a fully electric vehicle, and they do it before the vehicle ever receives a title or a certificate, so they are able to sell their conversions as new cars. They do the larger size, and they do some custom ones. We talked about one by it was either Winnebago or one of the other. I think it was the Winnebago, where Lightning Motors did the conversion of the gas transit to electric for Winnebago for their concept, and apparently we'll be doing it for the one that's on sale. The Vauxhall has an EV van, yes. All right, so this one, a lot of y'all will disagree with me, and a lot of you will agree with me, and um, it made me upset when when I determined what they were saying. And this one's from the Weather Channel. Let me hit play before I hit share.
If you have a gas stove, you might know it releases some methane into the air when in use, but it also releases methane when it's off. The EPA says methane is about 25 times a more potent greenhouse gas than CO2.
And she goes on to say that that this isn't just old gas appliances; it's also brand new ones, fresh out of the box. And so we were talking a few weeks ago about these states states and neighborhoods that are not necessarily neighborhoods, states and local governments that are outlawing gas appliances in the new construction homes. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, I like gas better," blah blah blah. And I was explaining that that with your appliances, they have the induction stoves, which are not the stupid infrared red eye garbage. And they even Samsung has a model, and several others that have a little blue LED that flickers like a flame if that was a matter of you needed to be able to see what the level was. Versus, I don't know what a 7 means. Well, I know how all the blue means.
Right.
And so the I already complained about how the gas stove and gas oven in this rental here are when we're cooking. Like as she's cooking, if I'm not cooking, if she's cooking, you can smell it in the bedroom all the way upstairs. You can smell the gas, and anything she bakes, cookies, entrees, whatever, they all have this gas taste to them. And as somebody who drives an EV, anyone else who drives an EV and then notices the smell of gas, you know what that's like. It's just a different flavor of gas because it's natural gas, propane, whatever, instead of gasoline, diesel. And to think that this thing is still poisoning us even when it's off, that was an unpleasant realization. Especially when she pointed out that even the brand new ones do it, not just the old ones. Because it's like, oh yeah, I'll just get a new one, no big deal. No.
That is disturbing to find out that it's slightly seeping out a little bit of gas all the time, even when it's
Yeah,
off.
exactly.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So
And
I
I,
would
I
think
thought,
that I would kind of expect that from the older models that have the gas pilot
yeah,
that's lit all the time because it's always
exactly.
burning a small amount all the time. But with the newer ones, they all have like electric pilots, right? So
Right.
they make the little spark from electricity. You would think that those wouldn't leak. You would think that those wouldn't be seeping out any gas
All
all the
day
time.
long. Yeah. Like
So
maybe
that
an hour after you cooked, but not the
yeah,
next
yeah, I
day.
mean, while you're cooking is one thing or whatever, but
Yeah.
when it's off, you would expect that not to be seeping. Um, so yeah, that is a little disturbing. Makes me want to rethink my appliances. Might be worth. I don't know.
Well, when we had built out here in my home, this community, this is a new community, but about 5 years ago. It's just all electric, no gas lines out here, and we thought that was, thought it was a problem at first, but didn't realize what. Because me personally, I used to be brainwashed that people say gas stoves cook better than electric stoves, but I'm
That's
not a cook
ingrained
though.
in
But
society. Yeah.
but I don't see a difference. But now I see why they didn't let this community where we at out here. There's no gas at all.
Well, I think once upon a time that was true. I think
It
cooking with
was.
gas probably did cook better because it heats up faster.
Okay.
The control of the heat was a little easier because you can visually see that and
Yep.
everything. And I think gas stoves at one point in time did cook better, but I don't think that's the case any longer. But since technology has improved so much,
Right.
they electric stoves they can heat up faster and be just as efficient, or
More efficient. Yeah.
actually they're more efficient, but I mean they can be just as efficient as far as cooking the food.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But the time that they were saying gas is best, blah blah blah, they had the electric coil, and they had the red eye, and both of those were they didn't hold a candle to gas, pun intended. But
Right. I remember the coil ones back in the day.
yes, yes. But the new ones, the induction literally takes the molecules of it needs to be a ferrous vessel, and it literally takes them and just vibrates the molecules directly, rather than through the conduction of hot surface against another hot surface. They're like, hey, you're metal, you're moving, like with a magnet, and that's why that's why you have that control, and that's why they heat up even faster than gas does. And they use less energy too, less energy than both the gas and the old electrics.
Look, now I'm a little older, and I think it's kind of. I'm a little older now. I think it's kind of weird. I used to like to hear the gas stove and make that tick tick sound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We do cook, Lee. I have my wife and I. We have a pair of induction portable, because we're in a rental. The portable ones, they are so good. One of them, we used it so much it broke. But they heat up instantly. They use so little power you can run them off of a 120. Like, whereas the regular electric stove needs to be on a 50 amp circuit, and a 120 12 amp it does it better, faster, and like I said, the Samsung and a couple others, they'll visually show you with the blue how much power you're using. That way, if you don't want to learn what a 3 is on the scale, you can just turn it to what it looks right, just like you did with the gas one, and it's not a problem. And you've used so much less electricity. You haven't put any methane in the air because where was it? David points out, methane lasts 20 years in the atmosphere, so it takes a long time to dissipate. And like I said, no fumes, no weird flavors added to my food, as far as especially the baking, and like I said, it's not wafting upstairs as we're cooking, poisoning our partner, just for a quick food.
It's funny that you mentioned that about the taste, because honestly, I don't really notice that in the taste that much, but I'm probably so used to it
like with gas,
that I don't really notice it anymore, because I'm just so used to it, because I've grown up with it. I've had it, like, I've been cooking with gas like forever. So
exactly, gas cars, smoking, and gas cooking. Once any of those are gone in your life, you start to smell them.
But with the cars, I noticed those like immediately, like right away, like that's something that I do actually notice, and it is actually annoying to me now, where before it wasn't really. Yeah. It's like you're just so used to it. It's like you almost didn't even notice it.
Right. So even though our house is in a gas neighborhood, we only have the instant water heater and the furnace on that line. So when we moved to this apartment and this townhouse that we're in, they both are gas ranges, and so it's like, what? Ugh. So Lee said I was skipping questions. So what question did I miss? Vauxhall EV van. Robert's having a storm. Derek's wife is 5'6". Well, he's 6 foot. Sometimes I forget to change the driver profile before I put the car in a drive. You can imagine get crunched before I select my profile. Absolutely. The other one that will get people is easy entry or easy exit. If those are set wrong, they'll either crunch you or push you so far away from the controls it's not even funny. And Robert says, hi, Omar. And I don't know what question I missed, Leonetti. I'm sorry. If you type it again, I'll take a look. Lee asked if we cooked. And Robert's got a gas stove. Yeah, they're the most common out there in the world right now. Derek said back in the day, I still have them in my apartment. Yes. My mom had one. It broke. And for me, ice cars are just as noisy as heck. Yes. For me, if I forget to turn on the stunner for my microphone, you'll hear the racetrack that is my street here. You'll also hear all the emergency vehicles run up and down. Walking down the road in rush hour, cars. Yeah, that's the other thing I've noticed. As I'm walking or jogging, I don't know that I could say that I run. I don't really run. On particularly bad days, like where it's cold or like it's just like the air is just like everything's just settling low, like you can smell all the cars going by, and it's not pleasant. You can feel it in your throat if you're not used to it.
I had to go fill my pickup truck up the day before yesterday, and it's like I'm really like I know I'm just It's like when I pull up, I got out the truck at the pump, and it just hit me. I'm like, oh, let me
Yeah,
I'm grab. So come on, Cybertruck, darn.
Right. That's why all of my lawn equipment is also electric. I was done with gas. Lee was asking if we cook with all these comments. Yeah. I don't. My wife does most of the cooking, but I cook.
Yeah,
And-
I do cook. Me and
I
my wife
microwave.
both share those duties.
And I'm guessing the commenters cook.
I boil eggs.
What's your favorite dishes to cook? Any comments about the GMC Hummer? I think it's cool. It's pricey, and I think they're going to sell them all as soon as they start building them.
The question is, how many of them are they going to make?
Right,
You
that
know,
part.
I mean,
But they did just invest. What was it, 3 billion, 6 billion, something like that, in their factory. So they're going to want some of that money back. So I think that we'll start seeing some on the road eventually.
did they just invest $6 billion, or are they investing $6 billion over the next X amount of years?
I think they got a tax break, and they are saying they're putting it in that factory.
Yeah, but okay, because I kind of think I remember them saying that they were investing X amount of dollars over
Right.
X amount of time, and
That's
so
probably more
it
like
may be
it.
within that factory and maybe some other factories as well, or what have you.
Right.
But I
Them
think they're
taking advantage
investing.
of the headlines.
I think they're investing over time
Probably
X
so.
amount of dollars, and of course the headline is, "Oh, they're investing this amount of money."
That part.
I saw something about that, but like I said, I mean, not getting. I was kind of overlooking it because just the fact of how they want to acknowledge, Tesla been doing this.
Right.
I mean, Tesla, they invested over $6 billion just last year.
Right. Exactly. All by themselves.
Factories and stuff. Yeah, right. And there was that was
In
not
1 year.
government money. That was just them.
Right. So Eddie's asking how many Teslas are driven on the Audubon. It's open, and they sell them in Germany, so that's a tough answer, but lots. My favorite is when you get to as you approach the I think it's 150 miles an hour, your screen turns red, and I think that's really cool. You might have noticed that on smoke on the track there, Marcus. I don't know how
What's
long
that
the track
again?
is. As you get near 150 miles an hour, the screen turns red.
Yeah. Talking about on the
Yeah.
I got some pictures of that.
Yeah.
It's my GoPro's inside. I took a picture talking with my draggy. But yeah,
Yeah, mine did it once on the track, and I was like I at that point I remembered that it can do it, and it was really cool. And I know that Bjorn has done it a couple times, and several other people. That's how I learned that it turned red in the first place. I first saw it on a quick little YouTube video. Lee says hello to Omar and Marcus.
hey. She asked a question too. Don't miss her questions. She'll get you right.
Have I missed it, or am I getting to it?
I think she
we
said
we
they
answered her
beat the
question. It was about
Cybertruck.
cooking. Did we
No,
cook?
she said some. She asked about so they beat the Cybertruck from being released.
Well, I mean, Rivian beat everybody.
Oh, it's I'm sure, because the Cybertruck has been pushed back. It's been
Another
delayed
year.
again. So
Yeah.
that's going to be not until at least next year. So I'm sure
Probably the end of
multiple
next year.
multiple entities are going to beat the Cybertruck as far as being released.
Absolutely.
But the Cybertruck is still going to be a super popular seller. It's and let's see how they do on price and specs and capabilities, because that's
Yeah.
where the rubber really meets the road.
Right, and I think that that the Lightning is going to outsell the F-150 Lightning. It's going to outsell the Hummer and the Rivian and a bunch of others, just because the first batch of Hummers is over $100,000, and there's this market for electric trucks that hasn't been served at all yet, other than that one Hummer that sold last quarter, and the handful of Rivians that are out there as well. I think that we're going to see every electric truck that gets built is going to sell, and after that point, it'll be a question of who can ramp the factory fastest, and then I think that the lower priced ones are actually going to sell more, just because a six-figure truck for work it's a hard pill to swallow for depending on what you're doing. Yeah. So Derek was asking how many of us are planning on acquiring the Cybertruck. Me.
Oh, I got a reservation.
Yep. Anybody in the chat, let us know if you're getting a Cybertruck, yes or no. I don't know how to do the polls. And
What you think about what you think of? Okay, I put an order for the quad, the tri motor. So what you think they're gonna, what you
I think
think
they're just gonna make a tri motor.
I think they're gonna cancel the tri motor. I think they're gonna do the quad motor, and I think the choice is gonna be either single, dual, or quad.
Okay, I like that, especially if they just automatically move you. I don't know that they'll automatically move us though, because
well, they may not automatically move you. They may give you the option and say, hey, do you want a dual or do you want a quad? Like we're no longer doing a tri. And then let you decide, do you want to step up or down? Because I bet money that quad is going to cost more than the tri originally.
I'm sure it is.
So that might be an extra 10 grand. They might say, hey, do you want to pay 10 grand more and get this quad? Or do you want to pay less and get that dual?
Right, I can see them doing that.
Give everybody an option. That's just my theory. I don't know.
Hey,
I don't work for Tesla. I don't know. You know, I'm not
right.
So
put the clothes out there. hey, KC, look. Well,
I'm listening.
I got faith in them because what happened? My Plaid Plus one got canceled and they honor my. So, I got faith in you, Tesla. They're gonna make it right.
Well, I mean, I see them doing that, but at the same time, I also see how they tried to do you at first.
Oh yeah.
Right. So like I said, I stand by my prediction, by my theory.
But trucks though, I be seeing the price of some of these trucks nowadays is crazy.
Oh yeah,
the price of some of these trucks is crazy.
Tesla's pricing is not out of the norm for trucks. It's not crazy. It's like that's normal pricing for trucks.
Yes.
It's not. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just put a poll in the YouTube chat if you're in line for a Cybertruck or not. Yes or no? All right, so while we wait for you guys to answer, so yes, they beat the Cybertruck. I cook because I like to eat. Absolutely. My number one reservation is around 3,100 in line. Cybertruck are looking far away though. I agree. For me, I waited till the next morning because the thing was such a shock to me, and I slept on it, and I was like, well, who cares what it looks like? It has all the stuff that Elon promised that we would have from the what do you call it? The crowd not crowdfunding, but where he basically just asked us all what we want, and he said, yeah, we'll do that. No, we won't do that. Yeah, we'll do that. And we were all putting stuff out there, and I liked what was in there, and I liked what they showed us, and to think that's going to be even better than what they showed us is awesome.
From what I'm hearing from people here, just saying when you see a thing in person, it's different. It's it's just kind of like show you the future of vehicles, basically.
Yeah. It's just different. And then Robert says that Model 3 for $29K is still on sale in the UK. Lee said, nah. Model 3 is enough for me. Yeah, I mean, that Cybertruck is huge. And so I still think that even after Cybertruck comes out, that Model Y is still going to outsell it, and it's still going to continue to be their best-selling vehicle. I mean, they've got, 3 factories for building it going up?
Well, I don't know if the Model Y is gonna remain the best-selling vehicle, only because if they can make the same number of Cybertrucks, they're gonna be hand in hand. Because
okay, I'll give you that.
If you look at it, the pickup truck form factor, super popular, right?
Best-selling car in America, F-150.
The Model Y is a crossover SUV, another super popular form factor. Those two form factors are going to be their best sellers because of just the class of vehicle that they're in. That's what people want. So, and what's crazy about the Cybertruck is there's a lot of people that are not truck people that are going to be still buying these Cybertrucks just because they're so different. So, and because of the specs of what you're getting for the bang for your buck, when you look at, the range, the capacity and everything, what you're getting when it comes to bang for your buck, a lot of people are going to be attracted to that. Yeah. So, I think their best-selling vehicle is going to be whichever one they make the most of out of those two.
Yeah. And let me say, I know people. I know at least 4 or 5 people, people that I know personally that did the Y until the Cybertruck come. They did the Y until that come. Yeah. Which when they sell it, they still going to get a good value. I'm pretty sure on it once if they do decide to sell it once that do happen.
I'm one of those people.
Oh, for real? Okay, so 6 then.
I got the
Six
why.
person
I got the
there.
why. I'm waiting on the truck.
Yeah. Robert Williams' dad got one. Lee asked what the tri-motor is. So on the current Teslas, you can have rear-wheel drive or you can have dual motor, and then on the newest, you can get dual motor or tri-motor for the Model S and the Model X. So tri-motor is 2 motors in the back and 1 motor up front. So each rear wheel's got its own motor, and then the front is shared. And then the quad motor is very much like the Rivian, where there's 4 motors inboard on the car, and each wheel's got its own motor. Yeah.
Sick.
Derek says none for him, but his son's got one. That's pretty cool. Zachary's got 3 reservations. He's gonna have a fleet.
I actually know a couple guys who that there's a couple guys that I work with that they're very curious about Tesla and stuff. They always ask me stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And they went in and put reservations in on a Cybertruck, even though they don't have a Tesla right now. They're not really, they're not really into electricals or anything like that. But
yeah,
just the capabilities that truck is going to have compared to their gas trucks that they currently have now for what they're doing, they're highly interested in it, and they put their reservations in. So,
absolutely. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate it for the great work you guys do.
Thanks for the support, Zach.
Absolutely. I kind of wish I had done multiple reservations, but cash was a bit tight at the time that thing came out, and so now with what happened with the car market, man, even if I could,
if I would have known,
yeah, right.
I should have put in like 2-3 reservations for
right. And this is what we're talking about when I complain about Ford. I don't mind somebody who's buying 2 or 3 trucks, but somebody who buys 40 trucks, yeah, that's a problem. But 2 or 3, that's just people being industrious. 40,
so yeah,
that's a jerk.
I should have put I should have got
the mile range.
Yeah,
and the tow capacity is good for what I'm using it for towing once my closed trailer get here to be pulling around.
Exactly.
Pulling up to the
EV
scene,
pulling the EV to the track.
Yes, sir.
There you
We're
go.
here for business.
That's right.
Yeah, and then David brings up a great point. It is hard to tell if Tesla's pricing will be honored. It may become more expensive, and we've seen that with the Model Y. They've been telling people kick rocks, and with Smoke, they said, "Well, pay up," and then they said, "Oh, we'll do the right thing." So it's a coin toss to see how Tesla will handle the pricing differentials, and I'm hoping that what they'll do is to do the right thing for the folks who are in line, and then to get the new money from everybody else in line after the point where they remove the prices or up the price of the FSD or whatever changes that they're complaining about, because they'll make it back up in goodwill rather than going for the extra couple $1,000s off of the early adopters.
Is it any reports out there that people asking for their refund back or their deposit back?
Mm-hmm.
You heard,
it's $100.
Been doing it?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying no. Have people been doing it? Like
people are saying they will do it, but I don't know if anybody's actually done it.
I haven't heard of anybody canceling their orders yet. I mean, and even if they decide they don't want the truck, honestly, it's kind of foolish for them to cancel the reservation. They might as well take delivery of the truck, and then just sell it, because there's going to be more than enough people that don't want to wait that long in line, that are so far back in line.
Exactly.
They might be waiting for a couple years. They're going to be itching to get their hands on that truck. So even if they don't want it, take the truck and then just resell it.
Exactly.
And they'll have no problem getting their money back off the resale, and they'll probably make money off of it.
Right, and I think that's why I've been hearing people say, "I'm going to cancel it," but they say, "I'm going to cancel it." They don't actually hear anybody that's actually canceled it.
Calling people bluff. I'm gonna call you bluff.
Zachary says, "I waited till the next morning. It was too shocking. My wife locked it before I did. Surprisingly, yeah, that was kind of how it was for us. It's like you can see my reaction on the live stream. It was not at all what we were expecting, and the specs were all there, and so after I slept on it, like I drove to work, and then before I went into work, I ordered it on the phone, and then I went into work."
See, I waited like months before I ordered it. I literally saw it. I thought it was funny looking, and I was like, "Nah, I don't think I want that." Plus, I'm not a truck person. Truck's that's not really been my thing. I've never had a pickup truck before.
Yeah,
and but it grew on me. And then the more I thought about it with the specs and everything else, it just And the more I'm hearing about it, it just kind of grew on me. And then a few months later, I went ahead and placed my order.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of far down the line there, but
yeah.
I'm not last either.
There you go.
That's why I was asking. Saying, hopefully, if people do decide to cancel, they'll bump you up. They'll bump you up. Then.
Well,
right.
I also
That's
ordered
true.
the tri-motor, so I know
Yeah.
traditionally what Tesla does is they release their more expensive versions of the vehicles first before they do the more affordable versions. So since I got to try, that might bump me up ahead of some of the other people that are ahead of me anyway.
That's just like the Plaids. They released the 21s, the 21-inch wheels before the 19 wheels.
Yes, that part.
Right.
So I picked the Tri because Elon promised us that it was coming second. I was like, okay, so I'll get it before the single motor. It gives me time to save. And then they bumped it up. I was like, oh boy. But now that the whole line has been moved back, then in addition to me being later in the group because I waited 24 hours or 8 hours, whatever. In addition to that, that delay should make it so that this car is settled before I'm gesturing in my driveway before the truck is a concern. One of the things, like you said, I'm not a truck person so much either. I've had a truck before. It was a little Nissan pickup. It was a micro truck, and I liked it. And one of the things that pulled me into that was that it is everything our Model X was supposed to be, minus one seat. And I like the doors, but they aren't why I bought the car. So, and then it was a bonus to see that they're going to have the no door handles on the Cybertruck, because I had a bad experience 6 times over on my personal car and another 6 times on Tesla owned cars with the Model S door handles. And it's not like I'm no, I just, and then they break. It's like, oh no. And
so with the Model S door handles, their original design, there was a flaw in the design. They would break all the time. They've actually changed the design of the door handles where they're actually multiple times. But now they are a lot more reliable than they were previously.
Yeah. I was really surprised to see Will Pro's on his Plaid. It had a broken door handle, because after what I saw on Engineerix and a couple others breaking down how the new door handle works, I was like, oh, this thing is fine. And then Will Pro's door handle doesn't work. I'm like, how is that possible? How are they still getting this wrong? Well, so I'm glad my Cybertruck won't have door handles.
I see a difference on my Plaid versus my 2013 P85 door handles, the way they just feel and open, though, honestly.
Yeah.
The Plaid feel more stiffer.
Yeah. On the Plaid, it's all like magnet sensors rather than, there's like very few wires and motors and stuff in there, but they still have to get it out there and they still have to come back in. David says, keep him a Model 3 though. It'll make money as a cyber taxi after I have the truck. That's what I'm thinking with the X2. Just keep it around. I'll have my own camera in it already, so I'll be fine with that. I just had to get a lock on the power cable for the camera.
I'm keeping my Y, by the way. When I get the truck, that's definitely happening.
Robert says vans are popular here, and the Corsa. Yeah, absolutely. Lisa, thank you. You're welcome. And then, of course, Zachary gave us a nice donation. Really appreciate that. I'm also noticing this. The live stream folks, they have made it so that the comments don't overwrite the person on the bottom screen anymore. So maybe when we are on the Tesla Life, Patrick won't be covered up in comments. Because I noticed on one of the longer comments, it actually made the text smaller rather than getting it taller. And Anders says the original Cybertruck will probably not be approved for driving on the roads here in Sweden, since it has no deformation zones, but I want one. That was something that we've been concerned with, but when we look at like with the Plaid, where Sandy Monroe found that it actually had a carbon fiber, what do they call it, for the pedestrian impact, where it was designed to push you up over the car rather than drag you under. I think that they've been making cars for over 10 years now. I have a feeling they'll be able to pass whatever local regs they need to make by the time the car comes out, and still make it look better and be better than the concept. So. And
rumor has it there may be a couple different versions of the Cybertruck as well. There may be a bigger version, a smaller one, and so if they have different versions, they may have one that's depending on what zone where you live at.
Exactly.
For the regulations.
Yeah. Plus, I have a feeling that they can make the front hood out of plastic or whatever, and still have that same style and design. But that's more paint, so I imagine they're going to try to keep it made out of metal. I want to put my trucks on Toro. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. I think, and you don't have to worry about scratches. They just add character. Whereas on the paint, you got to get it repainted. So 3 all playing on Cybertrucks. So currently the poll is sitting at 57% yes on Cybertrucks. The Roadster, I think the Roadster would be awesome. There's no way I can swing that right now, but if I were to come into some money, I might get in line. It's totally impractical, and since we're dreaming, I'll also do the SpaceX package. David says, Omar, I think that the driving experience will be very different with the drive assist from a regular truck. And I want to add on to that, David, also the rear wheel steering will make a difference as well.
That's going to make it handle way different. I think it's going to handle a lot better because of the rear wheel steering.
Yeah.
And it is going to handle definitely a lot different.
Yeah. Zach says, I never liked pickup trucks, never wanted one, but the Cybertruck looks cool. It looks like so cool for camping and personally armored vehicle. Yeah, that was something for me too. Like my little pickup truck was great, but they never made another American truck that was that small, and I didn't want to have to like have a ladder to reach over the side. Like the cool thing that truck was like the bed was at my waist, so if I wanted to put some stuff for the garden in it, I just threw it in, and then when I got home, I didn't have to open the tailgate. I just reached in and grabbed it back out again. I can't do that with today's trucks. And I can't do it with the Cybertruck either, but the cool thing is, say I bought a load of soil, I can, I would probably put a liner down first because it looks like there's going to be rails in there that would be full of dirt. So I'd put a liner down and then open the tailgate, and then the car, would have an option to squat the rear, and I could just sweep it all out into the garden rather than having to deal with it. That's pretty cool to me.
Hey, another thing too, I want to say the autopilot traveling to events, and you can still eat. You can eat and drive, and while autopilot pulling your trailer, you can be eating.
I'm hoping that the Cybertruck has tow autopilot, because on my current one I get smart cruise control and no lane following. No, I understand it not changing lanes. I'm perfectly cool. I'm also fine with it not doing FSD and turning corners and stuff. But I would like it to stay in the lanes. Like you hit trailer mode, and then it says, hey, right now you hit trailer mode, and everything I like to see is if you hit trailer mode, it'd say, hey, is this a standard or properly loaded load? Yes or no. And if you hit yes, then it would turn on the auto centering in the lanes. That would be nice.
That's a good point. That's a good feature.
And then if I said no, and it would go back to what it does today, where it's just cruise control. Because you might put a kite, or not a kite, but like maybe not a boat, but something just where centering in the lanes doesn't work. Something that's oddly loaded, oddly sized. But and if you lie about it, that's on you. But I'd like to have it drive straight on the road, because on the highways that thing is less than fun to keep it centered when you've got a trailer. when the car is capable of doing it. K-Man Auto showed me that if you turn off trailer mode, it will work, but I am afraid that if you turn off trailer mode, it would behave very similar to if you try to tow on a Model X without tow mode, where you'll tear up the rear drive unit. And so I'm afraid of destroying my investment, because I don't want to pay for that thing. Yeah. My first car didn't have doors. What was your first car? There are a couple of them that don't have doors.
Wait, no doors?
Yeah, I'm like, tell me this. You can teach me something.
Like there were a couple German cars that had or Japanese cars that had like little bars that were doors. Just a little bar you put down. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
And then like if you bought a Jeep secondhand, it might not have came with doors. The VW Thing, I think it's the same situation.
Jeeps, yeah. Okay, yeah. Jeeps, yeah.
Without door handles, is it safer for being carjacked? I think so, because they can't just snatch it. they gotta get in, and if your doors are locked already, then it's even better. And if it's impervious to small arms fire, then even better.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, so I'm sure the Cybertruck will have a similar function like the crab walk, and I think so. I don't know if they obviously won't call it crab walk, but I think it'll be able to do something similar to that, even if it's just like a Easter egg.
They probably will.
Yeah.
Because Elon doesn't like to get outdone, so whatever somebody else is doing,
we
can do that too. We do it better.
Right.
So
As Dan says, that's Elon level pity.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. As Tesla pricing levels for new vehicles ever met initial targets? My memory only goes back to the Model 3 35K. So far, they've met them all except for the Model Y standard range and the Roadster. The Roadster, they came up on price before any of them came out, and people got upset. The Model S40 did come out as a Model S60 with a software cap battery, and if you accepted it as it was, you also didn't get supercharging because the Model S40 was sold without supercharging. Well, they all were sold without supercharging, but then when it became aware that supercharging existed, they said explicitly the 40 won't have supercharging, the 60 and 85 would, and so then when they capped your software to 40, you also didn't get supercharging, even though the car could do it if you paid for the unlock. And
They
if you
must
paid
make
for the
that
unlock,
many
you got
40.
they didn't make many, yeah.
They didn't make many
Yes.
40s. They canceled that very
Gosh.
early on.
I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, and so if you unlocked your 40 to a 60, then you got your supercharging as well. Lane keeping is a critical need for Cybertruck. Absolutely, it's so wide, and I see so many trucks today just lazily drifting into my lane, and on a vehicle like Cybertruck, it'd be foolish not to allow that to go while towing a standard load. It was a 1938 Talbot Roadster. Let's see. It says he sent my DMs. Let's go to Twitter. Flying over Wales. And oh man, YouTube's buffering again on him. All right, I don't see the photo yet. So let's just look up that model. Copy, paste, go to photos.
Oh, convertible.
Yeah, it's a convertible Roadster. A beautiful car. It came with no doors though.
The one
This
I'm
is the
looking at
120.
has doors.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at also has doors. Let's see. Let's go to images. There we go. We'll share the image screen here. That's a beautiful automobile, Robert. So the next question is, unless it was this one, why didn't it have doors?
My first car was not that prestigious.
Right? My first car was a 1992 Lincoln Continental ES in white. And all the white had turned to yellow because, Detroit.
I had a huge boat of a car. I had a 1985 Ford Crown Vic.
Nice. Well, I should say that was the first car that had my name on it. I called it, its name was a bad name because every time I filled the tank full of gas, it would break down. So after I learned that after the first 2 full tanks, I started driving around everywhere with half a tank.
My first one was a Suzuki Samurai.
Suzuki Samurai is a good one.
I didn't know how to drive a stick, and I bought it.
Nice.
I bought it. Couldn't. I got in the yard. I couldn't back it out. I had to get somebody back to learn how to drive a stick. But yeah, that's a memory there. But Suzuki Samurai.
Yeah, so that one had a hit piece job done on it by Consumer Reports.
For real.
Yeah. There's a couple cars like the Tucker, every Tesla, the Samurai, and a couple others that got press that wasn't exactly accurate. It was race spec. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, the doors are heavy.
Okay.
And yeah. Here in Sweden, the price and delivery month are only available on Model 3 and Model Y. Other models, no info. Although if you only pay an order fee, which is fully refundable. That makes sense because if they're not entirely sure and then they promise you a date and it's off by months, that's bad. I mean, Tesla doesn't seem to care about whether or not you're happy as a customer relations situation, but they also don't want to go and just light a fire under a whole bunch of people. And it's not that they don't
that's
care, it's just
interesting
that-
because it's interesting that the price and the delivery month are only available in the Model 3, Model Y.
they're about to change it. Like if they change it and they sold it to you, and then that makes sense to me.
No, that's interesting. That means price changes are coming. Or could be.
Or possible. Yeah, they might not know what it's going to cost by the time they're going to make it. But so like I'm saying, is, it's not that Tesla doesn't want you to be happy. It's just that they found that making you happy doesn't actually make them a profit. and I'm not saying that they're terrible or whatever, blah blah blah, but they have had some issues and they are working on them. As I've said many times, like my local service center, once they built a second one nearby, their level of service has gone like 8 steps up, and they're continuing to make improvements every time I interact with them. So it's not that they don't care; they've just had struggles since the model.
Well, as far as the pricing goes, they've been changing prices a lot lately. And
prices go up and down.
Their suppliers. They have all these supply issues, and the prices have been going up. For supplies. So when it costs them more money to make, they're going to pass that cost on to us.
Yeah. Yeah, and in this case, Anders, I'm hoping it's just because they don't know what it's going to be with like with the supply chain, rather than them saying, "Oh, if you have to ask, it's too much." I mean, I can see them doing that, but if they do, it'd be Elon telling one of his weird jokes on Twitter. First car for me was a '65 Mustang. That's awesome. The first Mustang I saw was a '69 Fastback. In red. One of the guys who did IT at my school was he bought it and he'd fixed it up enough to drive, and he was continuing to work on it.
Those things are terrible in the snow, though.
Oh yes, Triumph Spitfire. You could jump over the doors. Lee had a Honda Accord with the flip lights. Yes,
the flip up lights,
down headlights.
Yeah.
The Spitfire was in red. I sit on a front tire to work on the engine, and yes, I could jump over the door to get it. Absolutely. Oh, good memories. All right, so next up, this is the same question, same situation I had about Tesla in Texas. Why would you come to a state where it's illegal for you to sell your product? Especially when you've got one just down the road that's bringing you in with open arms. You can sell your product. They've made concessions, etc., etc. This one is not actually about Tesla, but it's the exact same question. Why would you set up a factory in a place where it's illegal for you to sell that thing that you're building from the factory? So let's take a look at Rivian being unable to sell their trucks in Georgia. Come on, guys. I mean, are the deals on tax breaks and the amount of available workers that good that it's worth going to a place where it's illegal versus a state that actually wants you there? Especially when we hear the what do we call them? The lobbyists have seeded amongst the farmers in the area where the factory is that we don't want Rivian to come here. We don't like it. They don't even know what it is. What's a Rivian? I don't know. I don't like it. All right then. So this is coming from Green Car Reports, and so in Georgia, it's illegal to directly sell cars to customers, just like South Carolina, Texas, Michigan.
Well, I mean, it's the dealer franchise protections. Basically, they're protecting the dealers.
Yeah.
The dealership business model of selling through a middleman.
Exactly.
They don't want the manufacturer selling direct.
Yep. So that part I was wondering, but and it might be the case here of Rivian in Georgia that they can get some political leverage. It's like, hey man, you got all these jobs. It'd be a shame if they went away. But in Texas's case, I mean, they've tried 3-4 times since 2012 to make it legal to sell cars in Texas, and every time they get passed up. They don't even make it to the vote. Every time it's, we got other stuff to do. Oh, we're sorry, it's too important for people to go vote. It's too important for women to do stuff. It's too important. We need more gun rights. Blah blah blah. All the stuff that people weren't asking for when people were asking, hey, can we sell this product that we're making in the factory in your state? Hey, hey, we don't want masks in schools. It's like nobody was asking you for that. We want to sell this car. You promised us it'd get on the list, and it's not even on there. So in Texas's case, I don't know that Tesla has much leverage, but I think once this thing comes online, they will have that leverage. And I'm hoping that Rivian was going for the leverage angle with this. And I don't see it. And I'm hoping that they knew what they were doing when they got into the situation. But like
I don't know. Good luck to them.
Oklahoma wanted them.
I wish them well.
I do wish them well. But Oklahoma wanted them is all I'm saying.
I like Rivian. I like those Rivian trucks.
Yeah, the R1S is beautiful.
I wouldn't get one, but that's there's a couple reasons that I wouldn't get it, and
Yeah.
it's only and there's basically three main reasons why I wouldn't get a Rivian truck. Number one, having to rely on Electrify America network versus supercharging. To me, that I just don't want that experience. Number two, they don't have anywhere local to me that I could take the truck if something goes wrong with the truck, anything like that.
They do have Rangers like Tesla does.
Yeah, but I mean, how
Some
far
things
away
you can't
is there
fit.
actually?
How far will they drive? Good question.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that. And there was one other main reason. I forgot what that was. I was just thinking about it. I'll get back to you on that one. But there's a third reason why I didn't want the Rivian.
But the Charger, you said the Charger was the main point too. That's to me, that's
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
It's a big one. Derek says, hopefully public opinion will drive change in Texas. I think it will, because when you're selling all your cars from Texas and people want to buy the Cybertruck and all their Cybertrucks come from California, that's going to hurt them in the pride. Like, hey, how come I can't get a Texas Cybertruck? They just built it right over there. Why does it say made in California on the door?
Hey, I think I'm off what you. Okay, the thing you saying. Okay, are we talking about brand new vehicles or just used EVs in general that can't be sold?
So you can't sell a vehicle direct in Texas, Michigan, or Texas. Several other places like South Carolina.
Okay. So how's
these are places where Tesla.
And that's any vehicle.
owns
Period.
business.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not just electric vehicles. It's not just Tesla. Whatever. It's any vehicle. Period. They can't sell direct manufacturer to customer. So that's why they have third-party dealerships.
Okay.
All the third-party dealerships, they're all privately owned. They sell to the dealership, and then the dealership sells to you.
Right, and there are exceptions for like small boutiques. Yes. Like you can sell direct if you make less than 100 cars, ever.
Okay.
But that's very helpful to some people. Yeah. So David brings up a good point that Texas has no income tax, and that could influence moving a corporate headquarters there. And you have a point there that if there is no income tax, that's a given, versus Oklahoma saying, hey, we'll exempt you for 10 years. What happens in 10 years? Do I have to move again? Can I move again? Does my agreement prevent me from moving after they start charging tax? So that is something to consider. So Lee says that the charging sounds like a headache. So it's going to depend on the vehicle and if the chargers you need are not broken. Some of the vehicles are very much like the Porsche has got the chargers built into the map, but others they expect you to use your phone, your app.
I just remember the third reason I wouldn't want a Rivian.
Go ahead.
Autopilot. Nobody's doing that better than Tesla right now.
Well, yeah, that part. But Rivian says they'll have.
I'm spoiled by that. I don't want to give that up.
Yes, Rivian says they'll have FSD in the woods, off the trails. I don't know how.
That's cute. They can say that, but until you're actually doing something and they're actually, showing that and actually showing proof, they can say anything they want.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that's going to happen anytime soon. I mean,
Elon did promise our AP1 car would meet us outside the garage, and he implied that it would take a corner, and it meant it would go straight. If
stuff can be said, but it doesn't mean it's going to be done in the time frame that they want it done. Until it's actually in use and actually happening.
Yeah.
No, they don't have it yet, right?
That's why I say about the other EV automakers. They say they talk a good talk. We're gonna see when they start producing.
You know what's going to end up happening? I know what's going to end up happening.
What's that?
Tesla's so far ahead, and nobody wants to admit it. But
they're going to license it.
They're going to end up licensing FSD from Tesla once Tesla actually has real FSD completely boiled down. Then once they have it, everybody has to show that they're competing and they're doing something and they're moving towards that direction as well. So they're all doing whatever they're doing just to show and just to not lose their own customer base. But in reality, once Tesla is done narrowing it down and getting and perfecting that, everybody's just going to license it from them.
Yeah, I think so.
That's going to be
that would be the smart. That would be the smart thing to do.
Yeah, they don't even have to call it.
That's what's going to happen. And they're going to call it whatever they call it. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Underneath the nuts and bolts is going to be the Tesla algorithms that they're licensing from Tesla, and they can call it their Super Blue Cruise or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Especially if Tesla gets their operating certificate before anybody else does. Because now this car has a driver's license. It's completely hands-free. I don't have to worry about it. So if they can just say, hey, yeah, we're using that thing that you've already approved, then it'd be a lot easier for them to get their approval. Because, yeah, this is the same thing. We haven't touched anything. All the parameters are there. We just call it Super Blue Fuzzballs.
Right.
Tesla has really spoiled us. They were first and dominated it. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes,
And then Eddie had a fair question. Is that no income tax for corporate or for individuals or both? Because, like, for instance, in Florida, there's no personal income tax. Or at least there wasn't when I was there. And it was all based on what you owned. So if you had a trailer home, or if you had a mobile home, or if you had a boat or land, actual land, a house, then you paid the tax. And if you just got paid, they didn't touch it. And renewing your car was $35 a year. I missed that because now they charge me some ridiculous percentage. It ends up being a whole car payment.
I was like 75.
That's one thing I like about Jersey. Different vehicles varies on what your registration fee is per year, but all of them are under $100. So
nice. Hey, Dan.
What's going on?
What's up? All right. So David said that was individual, Eddie. And Tesla's going to charge very high fees. It's hard to tell if it's practical in Elon's quotes. Yeah, that's a good question. But I have a feeling that that depending on how they do the license, that even if it's if it's $100,000 on a Tesla car, that it may only be $5,000 on a Ford. It may not have the exact same capabilities, but it'll be the exact same software. Robert says hello. All right, so we've been making jokes at GM's expense. But they're all in good fun. So the according to GM Authority, the Chevy Bolt EV and Bolt EUV production will continue during the Orion plant renovation. So I'm guessing that they're catching up on the batteries now for the recall. So now they're going back into production on the Bolt. Last quarter they sold 28 vehicles. 27 of them were Bolts and Bolt EUVs. One was a Hummer, and
that's interesting wording. It's going to continue during renovation.
It makes sense though, because
what happens when renovation is complete?
That's a fair question. But a lot of plants, when they do renovation, they shut the whole thing down. They don't make any cars because everybody's involved in the renovation, or just the way that it's being done. It blocks the existing lines from doing their stuff. So this is good news.
I think what happened from this was because we've seen the news where they were originally going to shut down for like the rest of 2021, and we didn't expect it to reopen at all 2022. I think this came about because of
they got that money.
Maribel's thing, and the president saying, hey, GM's going to be the leader. We all know the snubs, but hey, GM's going to be the leader. This one's going to be like, so for them to prove that they can be the leader, they have to start producing. So it's like, okay, can we put one line over there out of the way? So I'm thinking that's why I came back up. Because if they had never said anything,
I wouldn't be
Dan,
surprised.
You might be right, because I mean, they've been called out for the fact that they only sold 26 EVs in all of Q4 last year.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put
even Elon took a dig at him on Twitter.
He did.
Said,
Elon's taking a dig at everybody.
So
it's rightfully so.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they popped up a tent outside the Hamtramck plant or the Orion plant, and we saw the bolts being built in a tent, just because we've seen it works, and it allows them to shut down the whole building to do what they need to do while keeping their promise.
For them to back up what the current administration has been doing, I believe that's exactly what they had to be. It forced their hand to be like, okay, we got to still produce these, especially the high cost of the walking fireballs. Sorry.
Well, that is borne mostly by LG, thankfully, because they had a warrant. Lee says Las Vegas residents pay no personal income tax. The state offers no corporate tax and no franchise tax, no inventory tax. Where that sounds delicious. Where do they make their money? Aside from gambling.
Gambling. Definitely gambling.
Lots more expensive.
The casinos pay for everything.
Right.
It's gotta be.
Texas is one of 9 states that don't have an individual tax. It generates revenue from sales and use tax, property, corporate taxes, according to Google. Thank you.
Oh yeah, lots of sales tax. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of sales tax. The tent controversy. Yeah, I went there. But it works. It works. So why not use a proven system? 6 states: Nevada, Ohio, South Dakota, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming do not have a corporate income tax. However, Nevada, Ohio, Texas, and Washington states do have gross receipts on tax on corporations. Okay. Thank you. All right, so we wish GM luck in their leading of everything, and more importantly, that there will be electric cars available to
especially as affordable as these ones can be.
Yes, I mean, like Eddie likes his Volt. So, and I've heard from some owners who did the recall that they did get the latest size battery and they got more range on their car. So it wasn't a case of like we were wondering if they were going to cap it just because they were being petty. And I don't think that GM might have done that, but apparently LG wasn't allowed to do that or whatever. They came out and it was just a new battery. You're good to go. I'm glad to see
Interesting.
I mean, they should do that though. That's just basically they're doing the right thing of what they should.
Right, especially after the way this recall went down, it was the right way.
God.
All right, so we've got here a. Let me hit play, and then I'll post the link in there. This is from Rivian, and it is all 8 of their drive modes. So let's take a look. All right, so professional drivers, closed course, blah, 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 be safe. Support mode. Ride height low, ride stiff, regen standard, stability is reduced. Looks like track mode on the Model 3 to me.
They're eating up those tires, bro.
Yeah, they are.
If it was a rally course,
it is drifting, look at that.
That's impressive to do in a pickup truck.
Yes.
On dirt.
I mean,
all purpose.
Look at the amount of body roll it has. Very little. I like that.
So this looks like more like, hey, we're on a country drive
with a couple of dirt roads in between.
Right, that is standard. Right, is soft. And standard stability is on. So yeah, this is
that's just normal.
Where you leave it. Off-road auto. High, soft.
Oh, so it's automatic going
It's surprisingly noisy for an electric car. Tires guaranteed for 1 lap only.
This one has been interesting when I saw it.
Alright, off-road rock crawl.
What, rock crawling?
Yeah. I love the sounds. Like you can actually hear nature.
I mean, that's realistic. That's what it would sound like.
It's authentic. It's not rolling downhill.
Right. But you also don't hear like.
But you don't hear any engine noise.
Yeah, engine noise doesn't get it.
I love that. You know, for that. I'd be afraid to be jumping back to a bunch of trees around. Right.
Flex. Straight flex.
I remember yelling over it. Off-road rally. So, conserve. Oh. So, as you're approaching club static, you tell it you want to save some energy.
Yeah, and look, it's showing you that it's only using the front wheels at that point.
Yeah. And at half power.
Yeah.
It's quieter, too. Okay, so tow mode, okay. So towing is just one of its modes. Hey, a lot of dirt up in there.
Away.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's beautiful. They hit the tow hitch away.
My Model Y is hidden like that.
Yeah. Model S is that way too. Model 3 in Europe. All right, so is tank turn a mode? Because really, they need to update this video for 9 when they bring that over.
I don't think tank turn will be a mode until
it's real.
a couple of years later, until they can get it down. Like the Hummer, when they did the on draft, it was like, yeah, but then it popped the wheel. It was like, we got to scale back. Like, I think that's what tank turn.
A really good point. That was a woman driving. Wow.
I think this is a good.
I didn't catch it. Yeah, that's a good catch.
I think this is a video that would be. It's a good thing of saying, okay, we don't have tank turn, but you can do all of this. Like,
and those are very good modes, and they're very useful.
Yeah, it's a great thing to be like, this works. And well, what if I got to go out?
The drivers are very skillful,
right? Well, I mean, when you consider it's an adventure vehicle, and so some of these modes are adventures. Some people going out into the mountains and just taking the turns on the road is an adventure. Other people want to get out in the dirt. That's an adventure. Other people are doing rally races, or you need a mode for each of those. And it's cool to see this truck has got this. And hopefully the other EV pickups that are not like super budget, like the $30,000 trucks, have this. And I'm not saying I don't want the $30,000 truck to have it. That would be nice too. But I know that developing this stuff costs money, and that gets added to the price of the vehicle. So I'm not expecting it on the less expensive cars.
Well, if Tesla didn't exist, this would be the one I would want. I would want the Rivian.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people still want the Rivian to have Tesla.
Right.
I've seen that sucker in a while.
I know.
Like,
I just can't have both, so I have to choose.
That's my point. That's my point. I can't have both.
I have to pick one. I can't get both.
Exactly.
They both stand out. Between the Cybertruck and this one, they both stand out. That bar of a headlight is going to be like...
Yep. Lisa said I still want it, and she was able to tell at first by looking at the hands when she connected the tow bar. This is why you need diversity. Because I would not have looked at the hands to figure out which
right.
All right.
Go back and be like, I don't need you, fool. Click. Oh, okay.
Right. So, if you've seen the SpaceX roof, you might have noticed that it's got branding on there. It's got a big old SpaceX logo in the negative space. And it's looking like, according to Drive Tesla Canada, that the Giga Texas will also have Tesla written out in negative space on the roof. So the background will all be solar panels, the existing solar roof, and then the words will be written by not having solar panels in those spaces, which is pretty cool. And here we can see them working on it with the drone army. The drone army is always there. So like this, but inverted. So the white would be solar panels and the black would be concrete.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens in a nice ice storm. Will they still have power? Sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Solar panels are rated for hail. Charging makes a difference. Absolutely.
I think that's definitely great.
So, speaking of third-party charging, the evigo network, which I've had great experience with so far, they, in Sacramento, have Tesla connectors on their charging. So look at this. You get 3 50-kilowatt chargers. These are their names because evigo names them. You've got Javier, Sindel, and Lakeland, spelled like that.
Oh, they got CCS and Chadmo? Oh.
Well, they've always had CCS and Chadmo, but here's the news. These 3 also have Tesla connectors.
They're also going to have Tesla?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So the question is, are they going to be Chadmo adapters? Or is evigo allowed to do what Chargepoint is not allowed to do and directly connect the Tesla connection?
No. Now, I can speak for one out here. The one out here in the mall, out here at Barton Creek Mall, evigo, they have an actual Tesla plug-in directly into the car with Tesla.
So no adapter?
No.
Nice.
That was new because last time I was at that mall,
yeah,
I had to use my adapter. Actually, and to be honest with you, I was getting out the car. I was actually going to my trunk to get the adapter.
And it was already on there.
I got to the thing. It was like, they had updated. They did something different. But yeah, it goes directly in. I was shocked by it. I think I took a picture of it.
That's interesting.
It plugged directly in. It plugged directly into the Tesla.
Dope. The more of those you see, the less people be like, I can't buy a particular EV. Because the first generation, correct me if I'm wrong, First generation bolts are CCS. Everything after, I say 2018, 19 or Chadmo.
No, Chadmo.
No.
Chadmo is Nissan and
Chadmo's
a couple others.
Chadmo's the Japanese standard, so it was like Nissan is the Japanese standard.
Nissan, okay, that's where I was looking at.
So American and
maybe
German
the
will be
Mitsubishi
CCS.
or something like that. I don't know.
Mitsubishi,
Whatever it was, it was the Japanese standard.
Yeah.
The CCS is pretty much everybody else, and then there's Tesla.
Yeah, and China. Well, it's true. China has their own. So David's asking what level, and I would say it's slightly slower than a urban.
If it's 50 kilowatts,
because it's 50 kilowatts, exactly.
That's about the same speed as regular Chargepoint.
Correct.
Yeah. So it may just be an adapter, but built in, which is fine too. Except that Tesla didn't like that. So not when Chargepoint did it. So obviously these guys have done it the right way because Tesla lawyers haven't told them to stop. Because Marcus has one near him, and then we see these three, and they're advertising it. So that sounds to me like they did the right thing.
But just think about it, it's only 50 kilowatts though. I mean,
that's plenty if you're shopping or going to the movies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfect if you got some time on your hands.
Yeah, so it's urban. It's not a supercharger
right. It's not like Tesla where it's 150 kilowatts or 250 kilowatts. Yeah. I mean, we're talking just 50. It's better than a level 2.
Right, it's way better than level 2, and it's just not made for road trips. It's made for I'm going to be here for a minute.
Right,
but I don't want to be here all night. I was in the mall. Yeah, the mall.
Right, yeah.
I was going to the mall.
You're shopping at the mall, whatever. You're going to be there for an hour or so, or a couple of hours. Yeah.
And so Lee's asking, is evigo better than Chargepoint? And I wouldn't say that. Let's say they're just two different providers in the market.
Yeah. Because I mean, the best charging network is the one that's located in the unit, right? So it all depends on where you're at.
Yeah. And so Eddie's asking, is it a level 2 Tesla connector? And the beauty of this is for Tesla, they're the same connector. Obviously, it needs to get thicker if you're going over 50 kilowatts. And in fact, my Chatamo has a supercharger connector on the Tesla side rather than the home connector. And it's the same connector as you'll find on a V2 supercharger, minus the aluminum ankle on the. These gestures look terrible. minus the aluminum thing on the back of the handle, and. Yeah. So continuing on, do Teslas need that when we just use the adapter from Tesla? Would the output be higher with the Tesla connector at evigo?
No.
And
that's what I thought.
So yeah, what did you get? Did you get 38 or did you get higher than 38?
It was slow. It was slower. It was still slow.
Like 38.
Because I thought it was gonna be faster. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be faster, but it wasn't. But it's just the convenience of you ain't got to worry about the adapter. I like it. You have to worry about getting an adapter and so on and.
Yeah, I like don't have to remember the adapter. Don't have to work the adapter. You don't have to pay 500 or 500, 600, whatever the adapter costs today. It's up there, and so the adapter was limited to 38 kilowatts every time I tried it. So I was hoping that they would charge at the full 50, but I guess not. Let's see. I wish they'd come out with a law where ICE cars get ticketed if parked in a charging section. There are a couple states that have actually done the right thing and done this. I would like to see this become more universal, and then after you've got a ticket sitting on there, that then the tow truck can roam by and grab them out of the way.
Just wait till there's a mass, what is that? A little massive award where a whole bunch of just EVs just park in front of gas pumps and just wait. We're going to the store to get something.
Here's the thing: you're going to see things start changing because the big major car manufacturers are now getting into the EV space. And that's what's going to change things. When your GMs and your Fords and stuff, when those start becoming more ubiquitous and there's more of those vehicles out there, especially when the truck drivers get into the game with the pickup trucks, that's when stuff is going to start changing as far as people icing these spots.
Exactly.
They don't have to.
Yeah.
It's not just a niche market anymore. It's not just, that's those tree hugger lover Tesla people over there. I'm hating on them or whatever. No. Now it's going to be more mainstream. Once it's more mainstream, then it's not. You're going to see a lot of people. Will be like, first of all, there's going to be people more aware of what it is. Like oh, this is a charging station. It's not just a parking space. I'm going to go ahead and leave that open for somebody that needs it. You know,
and then you get Bubba being, oh, watch this! I'm gonna park my truck in the front, and then he gets into a fight with the guy with the F-150 Lightning who drags the truck out of the way so he can charge. Well, I mean, like literally, like you'll see him with his jacked up Chevy or Ford or whatever, sitting there on his mud tires, and then somebody with the Lightning will come by, hook up a rope, just drag his butt out of the way,
and they're clean. That's what annoys me. Those trucks are big and they're too clean to be just there for no reason.
Pavement princesses, but that's going to happen to one of them. They'll get their feelings hurt. They'll get their feelings hurt, and then they'll learn. But it'd be nice if you could get them ticketed and towed first.
And that they own expense as far as the tow fees and so on their expense.
Exactly.
Yeah,
put it on their head. They'll learn. Just like parking in the disabled spots. If you do that today, it's anywhere from $200 to $1,000 depending on the reservation. The jurisdiction.
Area, state.
Yeah. And people don't park. Well, some people still try it, but generally people don't park in those spaces because they know it's not worth the try.
Yep.
Yeah, not at all.
Here, a lot of chargers had to bring their own cable. Yeah, I like that about your guys. Is where yes, you had to bring your own cable, but like not every lamppost, but like a lot of lampposts have chargers in them. Like, here we go.
I love that. There's already electricity run there.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Make the charging station, basically everywhere.
Yeah.
Imagine just paying your street parking toll and be like,
just bring your own cable and just plug in. I like that.
Right. Derek's asking, is it better than my 5 miles per hour, 110 volts? Absolutely. It's 50 kilowatts, so 50 kilowatts DC. So it's however long your car would take at an urban supercharger, the Tesla one, the skinny gun, it'd be a little bit slower than that, but not much.
Well, I mean, 50 kilowatts compared to, if you're charging on 110, you're getting about 1 kilowatt. So,
right.
So now you're talking 50 times
50
better.
times better. and on top of that, if you could hold that 50 kilowatt and in fact, my car will hold 50 kilowatts all the way till the end, basically. When mine drops down to 50 is when I unplug it, and that's usually like 88%. Let's get out of here. It might be in the 30s by then, but so you're looking at probably an hour to 2 hours to charge a Model 3 on a 50 kilowatt, assuming that the battery was ready to.
Yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think the coolest part is being able to literally charge anywhere. It doesn't matter if you get 5 miles from a socket somewhere. It's just like, oh, I'm going to get this restaurant. This little mom and pops plug into the lamppost right nearby.
The lamppost chargers are just regular level 2 chargers. So there
will
be some level 1s. Yeah, but they're not 50 kilowatts on most light posts.
It's like somebody giving you a gas can, be like,
you're pulling probably about 10 kilowatts out of that, but
yeah, and it might be 3-phase though.
Still some mileage. You say, Omar,
still good.
ABC.
Yeah. In fact, the American light poles are 3-phase usually, so I imagine that theirs might be too. They get ticketed here in LA, just not enough. Yeah, it's got to be painful. That's why Tesla chose $1 a minute for their fee, because some people can afford it and they'll be buying new superchargers left and right. But a lot of people look at that $1 a minute and they're like,
"This is what we got at
time at work was that."
We need our money. That's why we got it.
Yeah. UK's 240. I understand that. We've got most of our stuff is 240, but our inside sockets in the house are typically 120. They just take half of the legs, and there we go. But we get 240 to our homes. Gen 1 NME adapters are showing up as $45. Yeah, the NME adapters, but the Chatamo adapters is a little different. Let me pull up a tab here. I don't think they even have it on the Tesla site anymore.
Yeah, I think they had one. Yes, I think they did. Not the Chatamo, no.
All right, so mine's in the car right now, so a little tough to go show it to you, but this guy's got one. Comes in a nice little box like this. I think Omar might have went to go grab his. All right, so this is what it looks like in the box. There's, like I said, it's got the supercharger handle, and instead of the aluminum back here, ours is a black plastic. And you can see why the gestures looked like that, because that's how the product looks. And so on one end, you got a Chatamo inlet, and on the other end, you got the Tesla outlet.
I like the fact that it looks like you're about to pump gas.
Right. It's big, it's heavy, it's cumbersome. but this will get you 50 kilowatts on up to 50 kilowatts allegedly on Chatamo. The most I've ever seen out of mine was 38 kilowatts. I might have seen it test at 40, but it never actually charged at 40. Did you get yours, Omar?
Oh no, that's not what I grabbed. But but yeah, I have I have seen close to 50 on my Chatamo adapter.
Nice. No more Chatamo on the Tesla site. Okay, so
although lately with my Model Y, I've never seen that with my Model Y. With my old Model S, I've seen about 50, close to 50. It was like 48, something like that. Nice. But with my Model Y, I've never seen more than 38.
So I'm wondering then if that's, how sometimes like if you take the level 2 chargers and it was cheaper to do one leg of the 3-phase, and so they just do or 2 legs of the 3-phase, and they get 208 instead of giving it 240. I wonder if that's how mine were all set up, and so they weren't able to push the full charge. So I only got 38 because it was not full 3-phase and not full 240.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, because if you feed it all the power, then it would get a lot closer to 50, and that would be 48. Yeah. All right, so let's close this search and get back on it. All right, so this next one, I disagree with the headline because it's wrong. Alice, the first all-electric plane, prepares to fly. And if you've been watching this, or any of the other shows I'm on, you know that Alice is not the first electric passenger plane, because we've had the puddle jumpers up in Washington and Canada that are already flying today. And,
I think it's a technicality.
There's got to be technicality. That, or they just took the company's word for it. But this seems really cool to me. Electrifying all the things. You got some short range, medium range electric aircraft. It's the way to go.
I think it's awesome if you're doing quick city jumps.
Yeah.
They're
I mean, eventually, I think we're going to see long range electric planes as well. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Lighter batteries, more juice.
Yeah, more energy density.
Can you imagine mid-air charging? Sorry.
No.
No.
I'm saying they refuel mid-air.
Nah, I don't see that
interesting
happening.
to see.
I can see them adding a bunch of solar panels to the roof and
that's what I say. Solar
along the wings and stuff. I can see that, but
yeah, solar is as close as I expect to see that. So, Clean Technica has this right here. There's not just a bunch of people standing next to Model 3s. It's the Tesla Model 3 nearly outsells the Toyota Camry in Australia. The Model 3 didn't just outsell every other electric car in Australia last year. It outsold lots of regular cars as well. Update. This was apparently some misrepresented that led us to the news report below. It was initially reported that Tesla delivered 15,054 units of the Tesla Model 3 in Australia. That was apparently based on false information provided by Tesla. You saying Tesla lied, or are you saying they made a mistake? The actual total is 12,094 according to government registration data. That puts it second behind the Camry in midsize category.
That's a technicality. They sold them, they just didn't get registered. Right,
yeah. I mean, you got to take time to register. If you sell it on the 31st of December, it's not going to be registered on the 31st of December. It's going to be registered in January.
So, that's the process.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would say that not necessarily that Tesla lied, because when the Tesla does give the numbers, they say that these may vary by a handful of units because they only count it as a sale if they get the money. They don't care if it's registered. They got the money, so it's a sale. Now, a car that's not registered for road use isn't exactly useful, but they exist. Like we saw that Tesla Roadster that was sitting on air pillows for a decade, and it sold for over $1 million. It happens. Anyway, so last week we talked about Consegue. Was it last week? A week before Consegue? The supercar maker. Well, Road and Track has mentioned how they plan to power this thing with this electric motor of theirs. Is 335 horsepower, 435 foot-pounds of torque, and it only weighs 63 pounds. Look at the size here. That's was that a 40 there?
That's impressive. Put out that much without basically the size of somebody's.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about putting them in place of, say, the Honda Insight or Toyota Prius motor. And
imagine that thing in a Smart 4 too. Like,
well, I mean, if you look at the size of it, that could be great for, like vehicles that want a motor on all four wheels. Like you
right,
because that's small enough. You can literally put a motor on each wheel. Now you have that much power and that much torque going to each wheel, giving you
right.
some seriously high performance.
Or you can gang them up and get whatever level you actually want to put out, but not have to over-engineer on the cars. You only want this much power. And they've got a second one they're showing off here, which is a little bit bigger. I'm guessing it's their dual motor variant. Let's see. This is the Quark, made up of 2 Quark motors plus a small, powerful inverter. So this is their dual motor version, 670 horsepower and 811 foot-pounds of torque. I kind of wish they gave this in kilowatts so we could directly compare it against. But I've got something for that. All right, calculator, power.
811 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, that's a lot of power.
So I'll do horsepower.
And notice how the horsepower
is 604 kilowatts.
So notice how the horsepower numbers are lower than the torque levels because that thing is a torquey beast. That's how electric So electric motors are. Whereas when you look at gas powered engines, the numbers are reversed. The torque is less than the horsepower you get. Oh, it's got 1,000 horsepower, but then the actual torque number is less.
So this one, the 335, comes out to be 249.8 kilowatts, and then the other one was 600 and let me do it again. Is 604 kilowatts.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So a lot of people looking to get it for a project already. So
the project I've been working on, I have this like Lego set with the Cybertruck. So this Cybertruck Lego set I've been working on for literally 2 weeks. I'm still not done yet. I'm like 2/3 of the way in. So far, I've got a lot of the body building. I've got the doors the doors actually open and close and whatnot. I've been working on. I have like a couple of the seats in and whatnot. So I expect this to be completed by next week.
All right.
So I've been working on it for 2 weeks.
2 weeks after.
It's like a 5,000 piece. This thing is like 5,000 pieces.
Oh my goodness!
For this Lego set, and it's been slow going because I don't have tons of time all day to dedicate to it. I've been spending like.
Is this Omar timeline or Elon timeline?
Omar's in production hell.
I've been working on it for 2 weeks. Okay, I'm 2/3 of the way there, so I figure one more third. That means one more week, and I've been spending about anywhere between an hour and a half, 2 hours a day on it. That's all.
Hey, Elon, South African stuff.
Derek, I guess you got panel gas.
Sure, of course, it's not complete. That's just.
Does it have a sledgehammer with it?
That's normal Tesla spec. It's up to spec. Those panel gaps are within spec.
Yeah, Eddie says my ex is in the market for a plug-in hybrid. Motors like that might make her bite the bullet. Yeah, they're powerful. I mean, when you look at 250 kilowatts, is what, a V6 today? But an EV style with instant torque.
Omar, you should get a sledgehammer too, just cause, or a ball, a little metal ball,
little sticker.
Right.
Oh wait, it does. So I'm sorry, I didn't show you the other side. So it actually does have. I don't know if you see it, but
I see that. Yeah, it's right there on the appropriate side too.
Oh no way!
So it has it has the cracks
both
on it.
Both windows.
For both windows, yes.
In the right spot on both of them too. Yeah, nice.
That's neat.
Clever. So earlier we were talking about how California was getting into some shenanigans with solar power and backhanded taxes, fees, whatever. Well, the folks in Arizona weren't playing that game, and their utility lost in their shenanery. And hopefully, now that they've lost and this sets a legal precedent, we see this happen more and more around the country with all these greedy utility companies trying to charge us extra fees for doing the right thing so they can still sell the power at full price to your neighbors, even though it doesn't actually cost them anything more.
this is one of those things where I think it's stupid greed, but I'm of the mindset if if a house can produce and store it and give it back to the system, if they're on the same, say, company, I think they should be able to gift it to like somebody in need or somebody else. So it's like, you want to donate so many kilowatt hours to somebody in need so that credit rolls back over to them. So if you're negative $20 because you got solar, then you can gift that to somebody else who may not have it and needs to keep their lights on for Christmas or whatever, and be like, here, I want to donate to these people who happen to be on your list that are, don't have it. So if you're under negative 20, give it to somebody else who actually needs to bring their bill down $20. I think that'd be a really helpful idea to benefit everybody, and to get it work across multiple energy companies. I think that'd be great.
All the utility companies I've had, they've had a section on the bill for do you want to donate to the cold fund. So that could be another way to administer it. But right now we want to keep them from charging you extra for having solar and from stealing your solar output if you happen to put a little bit extra out there, or charging you for your over output, which is another option that they have out there. I definitely agree that nobody should be cold in the winter. I don't know that that's another way they could do it. I don't know if it's
like usually. Well, like I know. So up here in Jersey, where we get actual cold weather on a regular basis in winter, okay, they have laws and regulations behind that where the electric company is not allowed to turn anybody off in the winter months.
Yeah.
So if the people don't pay the bill, they can't pay it or whatever, they're not allowed to shut them off until until spring.
Spring, nice.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. I mean, yes, that's a good thing. I just don't know necessarily that any of that would help them not be greedy. So I mean, it'd be nice to see that, like you said, as an option, like to directly gift kilowatts over. But they do have where you can gift money over, and then as Omar said, where the government has protected us from them being the ultimate evil and just say, oh, yep, you're 2 cents over, click, freezing hell.
Well, I mean, and it protects other infrastructure as well, because if your home has no heat and it's wintertime and it's cold out, now the pipes freeze. Now that causes other problems. So, not only is it protecting the people, but it's also protecting other infrastructure.
Derek, I think I need to update my my video descriptions. What that is, unless you see some new news, they do still have it, but it's more for solar at the moment. So if you were to click over to my, in fact, let's do that. We click over to my.
It's just like for solar discount now at this point. It's not even.
All right, so I went to my referral link, share screen, and on my referral, they're offering $500 reward if somebody uses my code for solar roof, and a $300 reward. But this one is newer. They brought it back because they used to just be the solar roof after they canceled everything, where you can get $300 back for using my code to buy solar panels. So if you're interested in using my code, it's ts.la/KC1109, KACEY. Yeah, so that's what that was about. They sent me an email saying they're putting 4 times higher, almost $20 per kilowatt hour, or 20 pounds per kilowatt hour. Yikes! And it's negative 3C in the house. That's not.
Whoa.
It's not good. That's not good at all.
Why is it so cold in the house?
He's saving money.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, it's not good.
That's not good.
Yeah, so that's what that is. I should probably update the text on that. I'll try to remember to do that for next week. Still no solar up here in the north. That's not good. Like in my mom's town, it's illegal for them to have solar. So that's another case of where the utilities and other...
Wait, illegal to have solar?
Yes. Because the utility in her area, they make their money from reselling energy from the actual regional utility. And so if you don't use as much, they don't make as much.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, it's actually illegal for them to have. So, like, I know there's one town here in Jersey, and it may be more of them, but this one that I know of in Vineland, New Jersey. The town itself is also the utility company, so they only allow you to put up to a 5 kilowatt hour system on your house. You can't go any higher than that, no matter what your usage is. So most people that have solar, their system is underpowered for what their usage is, and that's so that the township makes sure that they're getting money from everybody.
Yeah, I wish more people went like that. I mean, at least you could say, oh, whatever. But what they did was, this is why it's important to pay attention to what people are doing in your local laws, because obviously what happened is these guys sat there at the meeting and nobody was there to contest it, and they blocked it. It's almost similar to the other town in North Carolina where they think that the solar panels eat the sun. That's not her town. Her town is just greedy. And solar panels don't eat the sun. So just because you have panels doesn't mean it's going to be dimmer and the crops won't grow. Like
that doesn't even pass the common sense test. That the solar panels are.
This is very similar to that town that doesn't want Rivian there because we don't like Rivian, but we don't know what it is. We don't want solar panels because we grow corn and we need all the sun. It's like, it's not taking sun from you. It's taking sun from underneath my panels. Nowhere else.
Right. Oh, so my actual roof is getting less sun.
Which is good because it lasts longer.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he wishes he had solar roof. Derek says, I don't even see the solar stuff in my app. If you swipe, does it show you the solar stuff, or is it a case they know that they're not allowed to operate there, so they didn't show it? I'm curious on that one. Robert says his house is a 1940s prefab. And Anders asks how it's going with the California tax on solar. So far, it looks like they are going to lose. But that doesn't mean that now that everybody thinks they're going to lose and has relaxed their guard, that the utility won't just send somebody through at the 11th hour at the meeting to just push it all back in. And their lobbyists get paid to wait in these meetings, whereas we have to take time off of work and time with our family to go make sure that they don't screw us over. And we need to do that because if we don't, they will screw us over, as shown in my mom's town, as shown in that crazy town where they think that the solar panels eat the sun. Yeah, exactly. David's checking now. I'm curious. One of our friends is living in Japan, and he had a chance to try this product out on a ride last year and said that it had a very good ride. So this Japanese-made folding e-bike only has 57 parts, is low maintenance, and built to last. This is coming from Auto Evolution. When we saw the picture, a lot of us thought it was an electric wheelchair, but it's a folding bike. It looks really cool. And electrifying all the things includes getting people out of cars, and, we have technology, so if you're not pedaling for exercise, then why not make it easier? So an e-bike is the way to go. Unless, of course, you're going even for exercise. Maybe you don't want to climb the whole hill by yourself, and an e-bike would be a good way to.
Electric assist is still good because
exactly.
Studies have found that people with e-bikes will bike a lot further in a lot longer period of time, so they'll actually get more exercise than they normally would if
I like that
they were using a traditional bike. So
yeah, this is really sleek.
I like that.
Yeah, that seat doesn't look that comfortable.
That seat doesn't look comfortable, but I like that it folds up real nicely and compact.
Yes, but our friend said that it rode nice, so maybe the seat just doesn't look comfortable, but it actually is.
I don't know.
57 parts, nice.
I haven't tried it, so I can't. I don't know.
I can't say. I'm just going by looks, but we know what happens with people.
Deceiving.
Right. Well, I was about to say, yeah, like we know what people think about EVs when they look at them, and they think wrong. So I don't want to judge it by the cover, like you said. Looks can be deceiving.
Yeah, my Model Y doesn't look as fast as it is.
Right. It's smaller than it looks in the picture once you put a person next to it, but that's fine too, because that means it'll pack up in the trunk.
That means it'll fit in the trunk easier.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it's like at first it was like, oh, it's a bike, and then now that I'm seeing this, I'm like, that'll fit in my trunk. Nice. No need for roof rack. Exactly. Yeah. Well, we fit my Model S trunk.
Can I get me one of them? Let me see. Where?
Derek says on his app, swiping right and left does nothing. Did they take it out of my app too? I'm curious. Because mine is an ad for the Powerwall. Come on. Open. All right, and then go to Tesla. So I had to restart my car computer yesterday because the app lost contact with the car, but the car was still texting me and saying charging, not charging, the door left open, but nothing else. Like I couldn't turn on the air conditioner, couldn't start it.
Oh, that's interesting.
From the app, yeah. Swiping left and right also does nothing in my app. And it is available here because I used to have it. So I think that might just be with the new app. Although, at that point, is it still there? So you've got Tesla Energy. If you swipe, does it still show you your solar output, Omar?
Hold on a second. I'm about to check right now.
So it is still showing the power. Okay, so and it's just like it used to be, just a swipe, right?
Yeah, mine still shows. One swipe over and it shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Huh.
So I guess it only shows if you have it now.
I think that was a good advertisement to have it, though. So clicking the circle on the top right of the app takes me to the account, but no sign of solar. Okay. So I maybe they got their hand slapped for advertising that way or something. Because you know how some of the smaller jurisdictions could be, and it might just be easier to take it out than figure out where that could be a problem. Yeah. Oh, that's another good thing about the app. I didn't even put this in today's list, I don't think. But they now have on iOS, or if you sideload your Tesla app from the APK mirror, they have charging stats. So let me pull up my iPad because I don't have an iPhone. We'll go to charge stats. So my charge stats were also frozen on the iPad because of the car's computer being frozen or whatever. I mean, everything worked inside the car. I didn't know, except that nothing worked in the app. So here we can see my charging stats. If my face isn't in the picture, then it tends to be clearer. So you can see how much I spent on electricity. What are you looking for, car? That's a light. And you can see how much I did on supercharging and how much gas savings I had based on my utility rate. So I've used almost a megawatt hour in the last 30 days. All right, so the camera doesn't want to look at the iPad, and so we'll get back to it. Come on.
Camera's washed out by the iPad because the brightness on it. If you turn the brightness down, I think it helps the camera be able to see it.
Perhaps, but then I forget to turn it back up.
It gets washed out.
Yeah, both my iPhone and Android apps show it. I didn't have to install the APK. There's also a details link at the bottom of the app. So let me see if there's an update available for mine yet. Because what happens, the way Tesla does it, they don't get that priority push like some other apps do in the Android store. So it just has to go out in waves whenever your local server's got it. So mine doesn't say update, and it was last updated January 7th for my server. So the other thing I can try is try my Google phone and see if it's got it. It probably doesn't because I never turned this thing on. Go. And then go to the Play Store, please. I'm curious how far on this rollout they are. Because it's usually within a day or two that people can find it on the Android. Let's go to Tesla. It's installed. This one's also updated January 7th. It's probably also got the wrong password. It does. I don't think this phone does my password manager. Probably doesn't. All right, so I can't find out on this one. I'll let you know if it does. Looks like an iPad Pro. Very nice. Yes, thank you. The goal was to be able to do some video editing when we're on the road, and haven't actually done that yet. But I have used the video editing app, and it's not the same as the one I use on the PC. But it is as fast as they were saying it would be with working with the video files, 4K, all that. So in theory, we don't have to slow down. But now that I've got this, this was it's from Acasis. It was a Kickstarter or whatever, but it's got M.2 SSD, so I can load stuff from my SD cards from the camera, and then store them in here, and then I can edit directly on the iPad. So part of the reason I didn't do it at first was they didn't the iPad Pro didn't let you directly access the file system when it came out, but very quickly within like the first 2 updates that came out, and then at that point we were locked in the house. So we were locked in the house when I bought the thing, but we didn't go anywhere because of the lock-ins, and so I haven't had the opportunity to use it mobile yet. But I am looking forward to it. Fancy, yes, thank you. Details show everything about your car. Nice. All right, and up next, we were talking about third-party charging networks a few times on the show, including an article. We've got one on Teslarati talking about Electrify America has edged out Tesla superchargers in 2021 EV charging infrastructure benchmark. So what does this mean? So this is one of the ones where I react to an article as it comes out because I didn't read it first. I meant to, and I ran out of time. So last year, global engineering firm Umlaut, they benchmark various industries, and in the U.S. EV charging network, they decided that successful and unsuccessful charging attempts, Tesla read on evigo. This chart is a little bit harder to just read at a glance here. What are they showing us here?
Oh, it's like they tested 4 different stalls and how many attempts at each stall
took to get working. 5 attempts and it never worked on green lots.
Yes, on that 3rd stall, looks like it.
And, yeah, and then same on EV Connect. So then at Tesla, they didn't have any failures. How did it lose? Or is it a Tesla charging on each of these?
Then that might be possible.
I'm confused.
Here's the article. I'm done with it. I've reacted to it. My reaction is just utter confusion.
Start and stop time.
Tune in next week when we solved it.
I'm not. I'm done with it. What version of the Tesla app are Omar and EV Smoke using? Good question.
So mine is on Android, and what version of this app is it? Hold on a sec.
I'm using the iOS, of course, iOS
right,
version of 4.5.1.
Okay.
And mine is Android version 4.4.4.
4.4. I think that's probably what mine is. Let's take a look. Yeah, shake and travel. Tesla.
This was updated. Mine was updated saying it was updated 1 week ago.
That's the cars version. Where do I find the app version? In the settings? Yep, there it is. 4.4.4-847.
So we're on the same version, me and you, Casey.
I don't know why the Samsung gets it after everything else. Like my Google phone usually updates before the Samsung.
Oh wait, there's an update pending.
Really? For Tesla?
Yes, I have an update pending.
Nice. Let's find out what you get. But I do find that my phone usually updates before my wife's phone on the Tesla app. And the Tesla app is more likely to kick her out. Like she'll send directions to the car, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm not interested. And then she logs in, and then they'll accept the directions. Okay, so let me close that so the car can go back to sleep. And David said, I had a Leaf that used third-party chargers. I went across the country in the USA on Tesla Supercharger network. I call BS on that article. Yeah, I mean...
I'm in the same boat, David. I previously had a Leaf, and I used third-party chargers, and they were very hit or miss, and I had a bad experience with third-party chargers. I went to Tesla. I drove my Tesla cross country, and I literally had 0 problems. I don't really understand that.
My favorite is when you have to call for a reboot on the stations. In fact, on some of the older evigo network stations, I know how to reboot them myself without their help.
Okay, so now I have version 4.5.1.
Nice. And you've got the charging stats?
Let's see.
And the car stats, where it tell you more about your car? It also needs the right car version, so your car needs to be.
Oh yeah,
right
charge stats. Yep.
To get car stats. Cool.
That's on there.
Nice. Yeah, iOS is usually at least a week ahead. You have the Samsung Note 9, and you have the 20, right, Omar? Or
I have the Note 20 Ultra.
Okay, yeah. And I've got the Fold, and my wife's got the other Fold. Interesting. Maybe you need solar to get the solar info. Yeah. It wasn't like that before. You're right. It used to literally swipe it over, and they would say, "Hey, buy Tesla Solar, buy a Powerwall," and apparently that's gone now. You know what else it could be? It could be because they're having trouble selling them because they don't have enough of them. Maybe
that could be.
They don't want to advertise.
They're not trying to advertise them anymore. They're just trying to. They may have more demand than they have than they have supply.
Yeah.
Which is very possible because they did divert a lot of their.
They're taking chips out of energy and putting them in cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my friend Wayne Gertis was in the news a couple times this week. Let's start with this one. He set a Guinness World Record for an 845 mile an hour zero emission drive in a Toyota Mirai Gen 2. He hypermiled the heck out of this car to get 900 miles basically on one charge, one fill up of hydrogen. And he goes to the extreme. And I've been on a couple runs with him, both record and non-record. And
didn't he have to on hydrogen? There's nowhere else to go to.
I wonder if he had a one-way trip or if he was circling the plant or what. Because you can't exactly. It's very much like an EV. You can't exactly just carry a bottle of spare hydrogen. I'll have to ask him on that or read the article before.
He had a tow team with him, so when he ran out,
they could take it back.
They just pushed it up on the truck and took it back.
Yeah. FYI, I was at the Fremont factory last night around 8 p.m. Nice. I'd like to go to the factory and get the. That's why I said supposedly zero emissions free, because who knows how that hydrogen came to be. If it was gray hydrogen, it was not zero emission. And if it was cracked hydrogen, then it might be zero emission, but it definitely wasn't as energy efficient as it could have been. So, I'm not hating on hydrogen, but at the moment, I don't think it's the way to go. So let's go to something I do think.
I am hating on hydrogen because it's giving people a false idea that this is the future and a more efficient way to go. When really all those efforts in energy in R&D and everything should be really focused on the battery technology and stuff and making that better and more efficient than dumping a bunch of money into something that's just not going to work and doesn't make any sense for passenger vehicles.
Absolutely. And so we'll go from something I didn't think made sense to something that does make sense. So Wayne also managed to set a new record. It's not confirmed yet. He sent all the paperwork into Guinness on setting a Guinness record for the shortest charging time across the U.S. in an EV. And he did it in this Ford Taycan right here. Taycan? Either way.
Taycan.
And in this video here, he explains, he's got music in it all over it, so I can't just play it. But and it's 30 minutes long, so I can't play the whole thing anyway. But he goes over his methods, and if you happen to own a Taycan, he goes over some tips and tricks for how to get the most out of your charging sessions. And a couple of the folks in some of our groups, they appreciated the tips. So if you have one of those or thinking about it, here's something else to look at. Or if you want to know how he got these claims, because a lot of people were really skeptical when I brought up this drive, and they're like, "There's no way it's possible. It's on Electrify America. How did he do it?" And well, he preheated the battery. He only went to stations that worked, and only the stations that could do the maximum charge at the car, for instance. And
he pre-planned.
This is a terrible screen grab of him. I'm sorry. He's standing there looking bewildered.
and he drove the battery down probably pretty far, so it was really low, so it could accept the maximum charging speed when he plugged it in.
Yeah. And so that was the other part, is making sure that you're in the fast part of the, once the car starts to taper and slow down, you need to unplug and keep on going.
You need to unplug and roll.
Exactly. Right. And so I have a feeling that somebody will be able to beat him that's been trained either in his style or trained by him, like myself. Not that I'm ever going to take this drive. That's a long butt drive. But somebody who's been trained by him, or somebody who knows his tricks. I think that they can beat him in the future as these stations become more numerous of the right voltage, the right capabilities of kilowatts, and the next year model cars are going to have bigger, faster batteries anyway. So I think this is going to be a moving target, and this is impressive that he did this. But like I said, I think that somebody, either he'll beat himself or somebody else will be able to beat him next year as this continues to improve, and I think that's impressive. I mean, part of the other thing that helped him was that the Taycan is actually more fuel efficient than they certified it for. You can put some fudge factor downward when you take this car, not just this car, but when you get your car certified with the various agencies. On a lot of them, you can say that it was worse than it was, and the government's fine with that. Their problem is when you say that it's better than any customer could possibly get, then they take issue with you. And so that also helped him because, Porsche says, oh, it can only charge this fast and it can only go this far on a charge. And it's charging at, a good significant portion higher than that and going, a good couple dozen miles further than it says it's supposed to do. It just made his job easier. 870 miles around a coast road. Okay. That's one way to do it. Yep. So hats off to Wayne, and congratulations on your new record. He set several of these, and so this whole process. Because other people ask, well, he's saying this. Yes, he is saying this, but he's also certifying it the Guinness way, and so that's why I was not surprised when he said he did it. I believe him. Electrify America worked well, and so that was the other thing is you can look in the apps and see where people are having trouble, and you don't include them on your map when you're planning your drive out. Yeah. All right. So this one we've been talking about how the current administration is allergic to the word Tesla, and on this show last week I told you why I thought that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Yes, it's not good for the fans, and no, it's not good for the people who actually do the work, because these are real Americans doing the work, and it's pretending as if they don't exist. Well, some news came out.
Like Men in Black.
Right, they're the Men in Black. So
they don't exist.
Right, exactly. So the Biden administration is finally willing to consult with Tesla, Elon Musk on semiconductor shortage, not cars.
You cannot tout. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead while I load up the next picture.
You cannot tout the other companies if they don't have semiconductor chips to make it work. Like
they also don't have UAW employees, so there you go. But something I brought up on the Tesla Life when I continued on that topic was that they're also not acknowledging Volkswagen. They're not acknowledging Toyota. Literally has to be UAW. Otherwise, your name is they try to speak and then they go mute. It doesn't exist. So let's see. This is another one I'm reacting to because I didn't read it first. The lack of acknowledgement, blah, blah, because of unionizing. But what we found out is that even if they did unionize, they don't qualify for the stimulus if that ever passes. Now it appears they're willing to consult Musk, but only on matters involving semiconductor supply chain shortages. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said in an interview with CNBC Thursday they want to help Musk. They want Musk's help because of how Tesla successfully navigated the shortage, adding that legacy automakers were still learning quickly how to overcome it. Well, I mean, Musk hasn't made it a secret how he did it. They didn't reduce their orders. They are willing to take different chips. They're willing to program the cars for the different chips. I'm curious what else they'll learn from him now that they're not allergic to saying his name.
Maybe
Beetlejuice.
Well, I think part of it is the way he's done business. When he opens up another plant somewhere overseas, he'll create that plant, have it done to their standards, hire the workers in-house. A lot of it's not imported like they would do around here. It's done there in most locations. Once you bring in jobs or whatever, it's like, hey, can I get this favor from you guys? Sure. It gets shipped over here. I believe he did that with the HVAC system and the ventilators at the start. So he was like, can we get masks here? And he pulled them from China like that. So, and it was just really quick for him to actually do that, which is really good.
So David brings up a good point. Willing to ask Tesla for help, its competitors are willing to ask for Tesla's help to help its competitors. Unofficially, not at the White House, not Biden personally. Absolutely. Details. So none of this is personal, they claim. These issues are way too important for anyone to have, like hurt feelings. Let's do the work. Oh, okay. So let's look at this quick clip that they've included here.
Civic patriotic duty.
That was viewed as a snub, Madam Secretary, by Elon Musk, who subsequently tweeted about it. Particularly, in the discussion of EVs, Tesla makes EVs here in the United States. They are one of the most technologically forward companies in the United States. Should Elon Musk be by his phone expecting your phone call?
Daggers. That's to the point.
Roll up a little bit.
It sounds like the line of communication is now open between the Biden administration and Tesla, at least from your side.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, none of this is personal. These issues are way too important for anyone to have, feelings hurt. Like, let's just do the work. And as I said, anyone who has good ideas or is willing to help us, absolutely, we want the help.
Now, we'll take it, but we won't acknowledge you exist.
What did that last line of the article say?
It was the rest of her.
Right there, the large billboard.
oh yeah. This one I saw too. I'm sorry, I forgot. So in New York Times, somebody took out do you got a picture of it? I don't have the picture anymore. They asked him to just say it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Just say it. Just say.
But as we said last week, it doesn't really matter if they say it because Tesla's sold out, and for the politicians, it doesn't help them because if you say it, it's going to make people on both sides of the aisle angry. People that you need on your side to help you, and people that are already against you are going to fight even harder. And I get it. It's the way they went about it is really childish because it's like literally the word has been removed from your brain. Your mouth can't form the letters. It's
just like stop and go. GM is the leader in manufacturing of the EVs, and it's been a.
Yeah, they don't need to lie either. They don't need to lie.
It's weird because now I cannot travel. I cannot travel without seeing a 27-minute ride. I can see a Tesla every single time. At least one. I can see a Tesla. They're so ambiguous that they can be. Somebody can. They know what it is, and ubiquitous. And they can see it and they go, oh, that's one. Oh, is that a Tesla? And the only difference they might see is the nose cone from the earlier models.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I see anywhere from 1 to 17 on every drive. Tesla is all set. Are we all set? Calling GM the leader is very poor. Yeah, that's the part I'm saying. Is like, you can't call GM the leader when Ford it's outselling them. So that's just asinine. Why not?
Burying EVs.
Right, 28. So why not at least give it to Ford? Because Ford is out there doing the work.
Well, I mean, if you add up all the bolts that they already sold, I mean,
but they're not doing it now.
But if you say total, if you look at the total vehicles sold, okay, GM outdid Ford.
Okay. And they were doing it since 2010. But
I mean, Tesla still outdid GM, but
that part.
Splitting hairs now.
Okay, so we could say that the GM of the ones that we were allowed to say, GM was the first one to run out of the credit.
Right.
All right. So this one is one that I didn't read the article, but we did talk about another group of them. So I need to compare this against the one I do know about. And here's a map of Europe and superchargers. And then the article headline is Tesla superchargers are now open to all EVs in Europe.
This came to a heated.
What?
I said this came to a heated debate in one of our groups.
Yeah, it did. So the one I do know about is that they have expanded from beyond just was it Sweden? So they're open in Norway and a few other places now. It was the
Norway
Netherlands.
and France.
Yeah, so Norway and France are added, and it wasn't just the Netherlands anymore.
But
so
it's still only certain ones in even those countries. So, like in Norway, it's not every supercharger; it's certain superchargers.
Right.
Same thing in France.
And
probably the ones that are less busy.
Right. And is that what this article is talking about?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Because if they are, then this is a really sloppy headline to discuss what Omar and I were just talking about. Because the headline makes it seem like they're all open to everyone, which is not the case. As Omar was saying, it's only certain ones that Tesla has authorized. And okay, so based on this photo coming from Tesla, the article I'm talking about used the same photo from Tesla Charging, which is an official Tesla account. So this is just France and Norway, and only certain sites that Tesla has determined won't end up like California supercharging is right now. And so if you're CCS equipped, you can use the app and you can plug in at these particular superchargers in these 3 countries. And Tesla is actually, this is still part of their trial. They've expanded the trial. They're learning how the other cars perform on the network, how the Tesla owners react to them, how they actually affect equipment, because they don't all charge the way Tesla does. Some of them are just as fast, some of them are faster, others are much slower, and if they end up causing bottlenecks, Tesla needs to have a plan for how this is going to go down, especially before they expand outside of Europe. So this is just a continuation of that, and it's really good.
Because not every car charges the same.
Right. Let's see, we got some comments I missed. Outside the big car manufacturer, Mary, you are doing it. Outside the big 3, yep. Anders said the EV1. So yes, they did make the EV1, but Toyota had the RAV4 EV. Ford had the Ranger pickup. So I mean,
never forget the EV1. At that point, GM was a leader. They were doing it, and then they just crushed all their ambition.
Yeah,
and all the cars, by the way.
Yeah, and all the cars. Do not forget the EV1. Exactly. I've got a book, The Car That Could, by Michael. I can't read it. I got new glasses, but I can't read it because it's on the edge of the book. Michael S. And it's about the EV1. I still need to read it. It's on my list of books to read. And let's see, Tesla selling the J1772.
I mean, it was the Who Killed the Electric Car.
Yeah, I watched both of the Who Killed the Electric Car and Revenge of the Electric Car. I need to get them in my collection. I had the first one, and the disc disappeared. Tesla selling the J1772 adapter on their U.S. website for $50.
They always have been.
No, It used to be $75. They dropped it.
They dropped the price. Okay, but they've always sold the adapter.
They have,
and they include one with the car when you get it.
Right. So we covered when they dropped it. It was a couple weeks ago, but that's a good reminder that if you missed that show and if you're in need of a J1772 adapter, it's $25 less now. And it's back in stock, I think. There was a point where it was out of stock. Comment says, "Keep this up, fellows. Thank you."
All right.
Yes. All right. So back on us not hating on GM, giving them kudos where it's actually due. They have announced a 4th Ultium cell battery plant location for the first half of 2021, and let's see where this is. Did they say where it is? Is the next question.
It's 2022, by the way. I think you said 1. It's 22.
I did. 2022. You're right. Oh,
we didn't time travel. We're not going to.
We did not time travel. So they have 30 new EVs they plan to release by 2025. That sounds very similar to what Toyota promised. To that end, GM is increasing their EV production capacity, including new plants and now new plants for batteries. They've announced the reveal of the 4th location, that it will reveal the 4th location for the Ultium cells in the first half of 2022. So they haven't told us where it is. They just told us that it's going to happen. So it sounds like VW right here, where they're stringing us along with press releases until they get a bad name for just being a press release.
They just want to keep themselves in the conversation.
That's exactly what it is.
I mean, they did get the leader of the. I mean, you got to keep the press out somehow. Yeah. You got to give your staunch.
You do it by setting the record sales. I'm just saying.
Right. People lie, but numbers don't lie.
Exactly. Put your money where your mouth is. So they made the announcement in their quarter 4 2021 earnings report, and they expect to have an EV capacity in North America over 1 million units by the end of 2025. So in 3 years, they plan to be where Tesla is today. Because Tesla's over a million with all their plants opening up this year. Do better, GM. But this is one way you do better is by opening more battery plants and more factories. So, on one hand, good job. On the other hand, do the darn thing. Prove it. That was a lyric. That's a beautiful car. I think the lyric's gonna sell well once they make it.
I think that car is going to be popular.
Oh yeah, they did their homework with it. Right, so when I picked up my car in 2018, I was told a Tesla replacement adapter would cost me $100. Happy to see it's less. That's a good deal, Tesla. Yeah, because it was for a while it was $100, but then at some point it dropped to $75, and it was that way for a long, long time, and now it's down to $50.
Yeah,
which is just in time. So that happened at the same time that we were talking about Hertz. So the same week that Hertz joined up is when the price of the adapter. It was shortly after Hertz made the details, and they said how much you would have to pay for their markup to replace the parts. So I suggested buy the parts from Tesla if you plan on losing them from Hertz, and then have them ready in time before you turn your car in. So if you have a Tesla at home, just give them yours and order a new one. The parts, not the car. They would notice that the VIN number didn't match. In the end, I hope GM ends up making good electrics and surviving with no ICE cars. But don't forget the bad behavior and the battery fires. Exactly. So I mean, they do deserve kudos for where they got the kudos and where they're doing the right thing. But they also have earned their criticism. It's not all roses over there. Did you guys see the SNL skit on EVs with Julia Dreyfus? I feel like watching it. Is that the one with all the AA batteries? Or is that a new one?
I don't know. I think
that picture still makes me laugh.
That one was a while ago, right? With the AA batteries?
The meme?
Oh, that was a long while ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was her. That was a long time ago. Yeah, it was the one with all the AA batteries in the Mercedes.
Okay, yeah, I remember that thing.
Let's see. Tesla Germany is selling the Model S CCS upgrade connector at €249. So that one sounds like for the cars that don't already have the right equipment, because it should be cheaper for just the plastic adapter and with the pins.
Yeah, I don't think that's the adapter. I think that's to
it comes with an adapter.
Install into the car. No, with this, what he's talking about there, I think it's it's the car itself.
They have another one that's just the module for if you order a Model S, and for some reason it doesn't come with one, then it's going to be closer in price to the CCS adapter, other than the J1772 adapter. But if my Model X was a European Model X, I would have to pay the €250 to get the charging board controller changed out to one that could talk in CCS, in powerline communications, basically. Check the link. The link didn't make it. Did the modbot remove it? I didn't get the link. LG Gold Star. Let's close this one and go on to the next one. Here, and share screen. So this one got a lot of talk in one of our groups that we're all in here, and Marcus will tell us all about being responsible with cars.
Oh yeah, the Florida.
This hurts my soul.
Yes. One of my race buddies out of Florida posted it on his page actually about how the plaid should be respected because of, for what it can do and so on. But there was a situation where I think out of Florida it happened. If I'm not mistaken, they was kind of doing some kind of racing, and then the police got behind them and so on. It led into a high-speed chase, and this was the end results, running from the police.
Wait, did you say Florida?
Yeah, Florida.
Yes.
Florida,
Because
man.
that looked like snow on the ground there.
It's foam. It's foam from when they were putting the fire.
Oh, that's foam. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I mean, global warming. So
yeah, so you can still see some foam here and on the
Okay,
truck.
yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay.
it caught your eye how that it caught your eye that it looked like snow. But yeah. So yeah, man. But and I said, unfortunately, just because it's a Tesla, it's gonna make the headlines. Like, they blow it out of proportion sometimes.
Yeah. And
basically, the headline should just be,
fool.
Yes.
Boo with a fool running from cops, crashes car, gets caught.
But who would have paid attention to it?
This is true. Thankfully, nobody was home. So even though the house suffered major structural damage, nobody other than the fool was injured. And even he, because he was in a Tesla, had minor injuries, rather than in many cars that kind of crash would
yes. Compared the car to what he looks like and how it normally would respond, that's impressive. I'm still crying over it.
The fact that he got out the car and ran away and was like, that in itself says a lot.
Yeah, but you got to be careful with yes, you have all the speed, but you gotta.
Knowing too much speed is too much for you.
You got to use it responsibly. You shouldn't be doing that on the street, and he definitely shouldn't be street racing. As Marcus was saying, people challenge him to a street race and smoke, and he says no. I'll see you on the track. And then they say, oh, well, you're just being uppity. And he's like, no, I'm being safe. And I'm going to keep my car. And I'm going to keep my license.
Right. Well, if you beat me, it's respect. We did it clean.
Yeah. So
I have no desire to crash. I don't want to kill somebody else or myself.
Your race insurance doesn't cover you on the street. Your race insurance covers you on the track.
and honestly, didn't somebody get into trouble in England about that? They were racing it among the regular roads.
A lot of people have gotten in trouble in a lot of places for racing on.
Yeah, my favorite is where they either crush the cars or they take them and make them into cop cars. So you see your car driving by, pulling your friends over, and
I heard it was one where they got banned for driving for a year or something in the UK.
Yeah, it happens. It's all up to the jurisdiction.
I was just like, they got slammed with it, and they were YouTubers of a show that actually did it.
Well, good for them. They got what they deserve.
So Timothy says global weirding. Absolutely. I've had snow in Florida. It never stuck. That would make a pretty cool episode of Cops, I think. Yes. So here we've got some news. I keep pointing out Norway, and now Jalopnik is. Norway underestimated how fast it could phase out gas-burning cars. If Norway's current EV sales hold, ICE cars will be out much sooner than 2025. And I've said this, but now it's good to see somebody else agreeing with it. So Norway broke records in 2021 by becoming the first country where fully electric cars accounted by more than 50% of new car sales. And to that end, I've got another article right after this one. Skip the comments on that. They look like they might get a little political.
Heated.
Well, heated, yes, but political. So, Teslarati's got a similar angle. The Porsche Taycan outsold all fossil cars in Norway to sell. EVs took 83.7% of the market share in January. One model of electric car outsold every gas car in this country.
And that's not a fairly cost-effective car.
Correct.
Like you got to have some.
You saw how the other article said, they were the first to reach more than 50%. Yes, they were the first to reach more than 50%. But then last year, in January, they took almost, they took over 80% of the market in January alone. And in one car model, outsold all fossils. It's to the point where I've been talking to some folks in Norway where they took their cars to mainland Europe to sell them. So that when they took their used cars out, they would get a fair price for it versus selling them in Norway. Which is pretty cool. You get a vacation and a little extra money that way. Yeah.
Yep, and I mean that's just a microcosm of what we have to look forward to. I mean, this is going to be the headline everywhere that EVs are going to outsell gas cars eventually. It's going to happen. That at some point there's going to be a tipping point that's going to flip. It's going to happen.
Okay, so were these? No, they have to be brand new Porsche Taycans because I know when it gets to the U.S. it might be used and the new model. So then it would outsell once.
Yeah, they're only looking at the new car sales. They're not talking about used.
I'm about to say, for it to take off like that, it'd have to be like used sales plus
we'll
new to me sales plus new sales.
Yeah. 83% were the all Taycans. No, they were not all Taycans. 83% was all EVs, but the Taycans outsold all gas cars.
Right.
By themselves. Just like we were talking about how the Model 3 has outsold every car in California, or the Model 3 has outsold every car in XYZ country. The Taycan outsold every fossil car. So we're making progress. We're on the way to electrifying all the things. Europe has great public transport infrastructure, so car owners are the ones that can afford pricey cars. That's another good point. One of the ways that Norway has helped accelerate their EV transition, and they're getting ready to phase this out, is electric cars were exempt from the import tax as well. I think it's like 200%. Last I looked at it for a regular car that doesn't qualify for the exemption. Yeah,
and they had some other incentives 0%. As well. It was like
other incentives like parking and
you know, I don't know, carpool lanes or whatever it is, but they had some other incentives. I see this happening, and wait until the Germany Gigafactory actually opens.
Exactly, it's going to be phenomenal. Joel, outsold all ICE cars combined in Norway. Not any specific. So yeah, any specific one, but also all of them together.
Right.
it's
ice.
Yeah. So I don't think it's going to take them till
the Norwegians don't want gas cars anymore. They're
right. They want us to take their oil, but they don't want to burn it there.
Right. That's more money for us to update our infrastructure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been talking about this place around the corner and how they marked up the Ford Lightning and then other Ford stores in regards to the Mach-E and the
that long
Bronco, and the Mustang Mach-E. So Ford CEO Jim Farley is cracking down hard on $3.6 billion in dealer markups. They won't send cars to dealers if they charge too much. So this is just Fox Business basically repeating what we already talked about with Ford's attempt. But they got an interview with Ford, with Jim Farley, talking about what it said they were going to do. So let me see if we can get a sample of this.
I think we're one of the first to scale. We've committed to 600,000 units in 22 months from now. We have now doubled or tripled.
Okay, so that's just a general interview. I was hoping it would be an interview on the article about what they're doing when they put it up top like that.
They got sliding the somewhere.
Yeah, here's the Lightning. And so basically what we talked about was basically if you mark up the trucks, or if you don't commit to not letting your customers buy 40 of these things and then flip them at a price, then they're going to stop sending you your allocation. You'll have to trade with other dealers to get it. And because it's now one of the most popular cars that they have, the other dealers are either not going to want to get it from you, or they're going to charge you extra. And you're going to have to then sell your truck to your customer because you want to get your allocation back. You now have to sell your truck to the customer at the regular price, even though you overpaid for it from the other dealer. And so you're taking a loss when you could have had the truck and not taken a loss by not being greedy. So,
well, that's good that they're trying to do something about it. But see, that's the problem with the whole dealership model, selling through the middleman. You know, yes. If they allowed, direct manufacturer to customer sales, then that wouldn't even be an issue.
Yep. So, Derek, I'm not sure what he's getting at. I've just pasted the article in the chat because obviously I can't. Well, for one, it's the 10-minute video. Two, Fox might have an issue with that. But I have a feeling, like you said, he's talking about the first to sell scale the EV truck, because they can beat Rivian to this as they're not new to the market. And I assume that's what they're talking about, because their Mach-E is doing well, but it's not the first to scale by any means on anything. So it's got to be the Lightning he's talking about. And if not, then he's lying through his teeth.
Not bad.
Right.
Yeah. And he might still be wrong, but not necessarily lying, if he miscalculated when GM will get that Hummer up and running, because they could still beat him to the punch. All right, so Inside EVs had an op-ed on Tesla's unbelievable factory efficiency deserves more attention. It's crazy to think Tesla produced more cars per week in Fremont than Ford did at its Dearborn, Michigan truck plant. I think we talked about this last week, where we held up all the factories and showed how each of the factories in the U.S. was doing, and found out that Fremont was one of the best out of all the large factories in the country. And I thought that was pretty cool. So if you want to read this op-ed from EVNX or EVNX, it's right here in the chat.
The crazy thing is, there's still people employed there. I saw a lot of machines. I also saw a lot of wires. I also saw a lot of things that can be broken, get fixed. It's just this apprehension because of the unionization. I'm like, there's still, you don't have to worry about the breakdown of parts. In the making of it, there are still parts that can break down in such a case.
Well, I mean, of course, there's going to be jobs. I mean, it's a manufacturing plant. There's going to be tons of jobs. Exactly. It doesn't matter what type of vehicle they're making. They're making something. It's going to be a lot of. It's going to be a lot of jobs. Always
so narrow-minded.
Yes, they can make it as efficiently as possible. They can make it with as many robots as they can, but there's still going to need to be a lot of employees. Period.
Right. We found that out when they tried to do Flufferbutt, and they couldn't get the foam by robot, but it was quicker for a human to do it. So
that's what bugs me when they're worried about the moving parts and want to create more parts for more jobs. I'm like, it's still there.
People are afraid of change, and if they were actually do the research, they would see that this change doesn't actually do what they're afraid it will do, what they would hope it would do. In Elon's case, they hoped it would mean less people, and it didn't work. And the union could do the research and say, oh, this actually means we need more of these people who get paid better. Sorry, low sugar again. You want to go ahead and read this comment, please, somebody?
Does this mean Fremont is producing more than the busy NUMMI days?
The NUMMI.
NUMMI, okay.
Question. That's a good question, because NUMMI, I think that they did 500,000 cars a year at the most, and this is beyond that. So,
yes. I believe they are doing more. Yes.
I do believe you walk into Fremont, it's as efficient as they got it. I'm pretty sure there's enough safety people. There are people that are probably making sure nothing's. I've been in plants, albeit not automotive, but where a piece of equipment so well that only you can tweak it, so that you're the one that has to maintain its efficiency. So we're designing it, so it's sort of flawed hands, but some people, if they work around something fairly well, they go oh, that machine's not swinging as fast as it should be. You don't know how they know it. They've just been around it so much that they know there's something going to make it work more efficiently as it's needed. It's not like it's perfect when they're making it. They just go, oh, this is about to slow down. There's people that have been knowing if the line's going to slow down. They're preemptively doing it. These are not produced without human interactions. This is a marriage of both. From what I'm saying,
Joel found that the yearly annual production peaked at 428,633 in 2006. So I think that 500,000 I quoted was maybe they hit the 500,000 run rate, and they didn't actually do it. They got close, because look at this. This is not 500,000. This is 428,000. It's a big difference there. So yes, Tesla is outdoing.
Tesla's outdoing that.
Yeah,
literally outdoing everybody.
Yeah, and as Derek says, that parking lot is a nightmare. To the point where I didn't put.
I was out there late last year, and that parking lot absolutely is a nightmare.
And I didn't put this article in there, but Tesla actually bought or leased a railroad line to get folks into the Germany plant on their own track. They're going to put their own train, their own track, and this will help. Like somebody else said in there that they're better at public transit in Europe. So not only are they better at public transit, but now this will also help them that they have their own direct path from the from where everybody's coming from to their factory. So they're learning.
Can't say I was in traffic. No, you're on the same train as everybody else.
Right.
You're maybe the last in line to clock in, but you were there.
Right. You were supposed to be on the A train, and we the time.
Like, yeah, you missed the train, and you had to catch the later train, so that's
right.
That's why you were late.
Yes. Boy, Elon managed to make a lot of hay from a fire sale price for that plant. Yes, they did. I still love the way that he managed to strong arm Toyota for that metal, or GM, whoever it was, for that metal press. We have train delays. Yeah, but then everybody was late. So if everybody's not late, then they know that you're telling them a story.
They all have the same excuse. That actually happened. I was driving down 144 going to the military base, and there was an accident ahead of us. Mm-hmm. But we all had to turn around. That took us another half hour, an hour. But everybody that was coming in my direction was also late behind me. So the officers, everybody else was late. That helps your case when it's like, we all hit this accident.
It totally does.
We all had to turn around.
So this was an article we had some fun discussion on because our friend Jennifer, she asked who was actually planning to do real exercise in the gas station, and then she showed us what they could do to actually get us to exercise in the gas station aside from put the gym there, and she's right. So
you can start by not having gas because those fumes that you don't have to smell would help.
Right. Not because you breathe a lot more when you're exercising, and you don't want to breathe in any more of that stuff than you have to. So this was Fast Company's idea of what the energy station of the future will look like. Let's call it that, because you're refilling, but you're not getting gas. And so treadmills, nice, beautiful design, and we've actually seen kind of this with the Tesla lounges, where they have the lounges all around the world, but they're not this fancy because Tesla is not actually luxury. They're just premium priced, and they're aiming at the premium segment of the market. They're not luxury by any means. So this actually goes a bit beyond what we saw in the lounges to go for that whole luxury feel. And she has a point. I don't know. Another friend of ours said, well, I wouldn't want to do exercise like this, but I would go for a walk around the premises, which we saw where Tesla's trying to do this with Austin, make it like a nature preserve, essentially, where you can walk around Austin, and get your exercise that way. Although, as big as Austin is, I think your car would have been into the point where it's charging you fees if you make the whole campus run while it's still plugged into a supercharger. But yeah, I would be comfortable with this because there are some like toll plazas that are similar to this, a lot less upscale, that I enjoy, that they've actually put the effort into the building, made it a comfortable experience. Omar and I use them all the time, like the Maryland House. Jersey Turnpike's got a bunch of these oases, as they call them. And yeah, what do y'all think about this?
Oh, I absolutely, I love it. Put those at all the rest stops.
Absolutely. All right, so now we've got another tweet that is pretty cool. So Mary's leading here. On day one of launching the cruise to the public, someone fell asleep in the back and had to be woken up remotely. I didn't expect that so soon. If you could choose, what wake-up sound would you want? Or whose voice do you want to hear? What should they say? So Kyle is the co-founder and president and CTO at Cruise. And Cruise is a company that GM bought for their automation. They run around with a bunch of Chevy Bolts with no steering wheel. And that's actually kind of cool. So it means it was driving well enough in their zone that the person was comfortable and zonked out. Sweaty would need showers before getting back in the driver's seat. Exactly. And I think that's why that person said she would rather walk the campus rather than walk a treadmill.
Well, I mean, if you do walk a treadmill, if you're just walking, then it's not a big deal. But
the ladies in that picture were running, jogging.
But if you're running, you're right. You would want to. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Get that person a medal, the first person to nap in an autonomous vehicle. Morgan Freeman, yes, that would be awesome. Oh, I'm gonna retweet that one. I like it. If Morgan Freeman's voice woke me up after I fell asleep in an autonomous car, I'd feel the worst.
How about Samuel L. Jackson?
Yes, wake up, MFer.
Get your off my car.
Ask me how one more time.
Say what again?
Yes. Oh. So progress. Next, we have an EV encounter on Inside EVs, where Rivian R1T, the Lucid Air, and a Ford Mach-E were spotted charging together. It's a glimpse of the future. Yeah, why not? Because this is the future, right? We electrify all the things. Well, you're not always going to be at home, and you need to charge, so why not? That's a test vehicle right there, 148. Yeah, manufacturer plates.
Good one.
There you go. That one looks like a customer car. The Rivian is probably a manufacturer owner, like somebody who works for the factory. Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We've reached a point that it's like a gas station. You can pull up and see various models of something, and it be there. Reminds me of the EV on EV crash. I've said it before. I was like, you've reached a point to where two different cars can hit each other and they're both EVs. That's a milestone.
Yeah.
It's definitely a milestone. Bad to crash, but definitely a milestone.
So we've got another article from Business Insider talking about
I remember that.
Yeah, parachute on. I think you brought the article up. So you want to talk about it?
Yeah. So they didn't open it. Okay. So I think this is a cause of them throwing.
Well, it opened, but not as fast.
Not as fast, and that's a critical thing when you're trying to launch 1 to 2 per week. Somewhere in there, you might be throwing up some cargo. Cargo's not cheap.
Right.
They want up a ride share system.
But to be fair,
it's not as big of a deal if it's just a cargo capsule. It's a big deal because a Dragon, you're transporting people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they got a lot of training.
Right.
But the training doesn't do you any good if you can't, control
Yeah, but right, that's a big deal, because that's a safety aspect for people being able to land safely back on Earth. And
I also want to point out here that they do have redundant parachutes. So, I mean, this is an issue and it does need to be corrected. And they've had several issues with parachutes, as did Boeing and a couple of the others. But they all work on them and they repair them because, as Omar said, when it comes to people, as SpaceX and Elon say, fail fast, fail often. But when it comes to people, they take a much different approach than they do for cargo and stuff that can be replaced.
Much less room for error.
I want to know is how much the delay was.
That's a good question. Did they say?
I don't think it showed when I read it. I want to know how long it was late. If this was like milliseconds or a whole minute where you're going, guys, this is not working.
Right.
If you say that, then it's been a while. Or is this time to milliseconds? So the computer
it's probably within seconds.
Yeah.
So the computer's like, oh, I'm sorry, we forgot to do this. Click, and it's like,
right. But it's still enough to make an article enough that NASA is going to want you to fix it.
I would think what probably happened is that their primary, thing failed. A few seconds later, the secondary kicked in and made it deploy. Because they probably have redundant systems for that.
Maybe
I would imagine they have a lot of redundancy built into that.
But I would imagine it's also a primary chute that just opens slowly, because if they went over to the backup chute, we would have heard this everywhere.
I would think it was still the primary chute, so
secondary opener.
But a secondary, thing to make it open.
The line was too long or whatever. It just didn't work the way it should have.
I think the initial one was I think one of it was noted in that article. It was the placement of the chute. So during the deployment, one got in the way of the other, like two people trying to go into the same door. So they got through about the same time, but it wasn't as fast if one person went through the door by itself.
Right.
So I think they're going back to the re-engineering process because, again, you got
that makes sense.
So they had to re-alter it, and the engineers are kind of happy about what they do. So I'm pretty sure they're going to make it perfect.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the way the SpaceX operates. Is this is not anything to be afraid of. We'll probably see it fixed, if not on the next one, but the one after that, like we saw with the toilet. They fixed the toilet real quick. All right, so
I'm pretty sure somebody felt embarrassed on the ground.
Right, Hot Cars is talking everything we know about the Saleen electric supercar. I didn't either remember or realize that Saleen was getting into EVs, but why not? Salien's electric supercar announcement has the automotive world guessing. This is what we know and what we think. So 190-mile range, 107 horsepower. That doesn't sound very Saline-like, does it? Oh, in China. Okay.
107 horsepower though. This is like a sports car.
Well, if it's in China, that makes sense.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's cheap. If it's less power, there's less money you got to put into it.
Yeah, true.
The partnership ended acrimoniously, so their next one should be.
It will turn heads.
AC propulsion and a Gen 1 Roadster. Did they take us to an old article? Because I remember Tesla bought a lot of AC propulsion tech and then had to redo it all because it wasn't ready for mass production. Is this the same article or not? I don't think it's the same article, but it's weird that they would go back over 15 years.
Yeah, I think that's it.
For the related article.
If you remember back then, this was the very first electric supercar.
Yeah.
That was 2007, because I remember that.
Oh, I see why, though. AC Propulsion was on board as part of the Saline electric supercar team. So that would be unrelated. But at the same time, you went back 15 years for your related. So here's that article. And then we'll move on to the next one. Let's see. Ars Technica says that in November 2021, one of the 4 parachutes was delayed by 75 seconds before it fully inflated. Yeah, that is significant. And like I said, they have redundancies, but
that's almost a minute and a half. That's
right.
That's
right. That's when I see all the redundancies open up. Yeah.
That's why I said when somebody goes, this parachute's not open.
Right.
And by the time you notice it, you're like, this computer got to wake up. What the crap is going on?
Right.
So it took a while before it was fully inflated. So maybe, you know,
again, somebody trying to get in the door at the same time.
And it was one out of the 4 parachutes. So remember, it's multiple parachutes. Right. So the other ones were open, but one of them was just fluttering. Just wasn't quite fully open. I guess
they can get by on 2, but they want 3. So one of them being
if the 4th one's not there, they're like, we got to do this.
Yeah, right. Because if something happens to that one, then there's still something that can happen to the other 3. That's why they want all 4 of them running. So, wow, 75 seconds.
I want to see if they release it. I want to see if they release it because sometimes they release their failures after they figured out what went wrong.
They usually.
So I want to know if they release it. I'll be eager to see what it looks like, or to get an actual sense of the time that it happens. Yep.
All right, so I've reordered these 2 articles because I wanted to. So this one is from the Detroit Free Press reports that GM strikes a deal that will bring medium-duty electric trucks to market. General Motors is collaborating with an electric truck conversion company to turn commercial trucks such as shuttles and school buses into battery electric vehicles. Oh, so my comment was that they should get together with Lightning Motors and it'll get done. And little did I know, they got together with Lightning Motors and are getting it done.
This is what GM's leading market in.
So yeah, Lightning Motors actually they take gliders from Ford and now GM and they get stuff done. So yeah, nice.
Okay.
So I have confidence that this is going to happen since they're involved. If GM was involved, it'll happen eventually someday. Blah blah blah. But yeah, GM knows how to build gliders and ship them all over the place. And Lightning Motors, they deliver electric trucks. So this is good. And I was talking about them earlier with Ford. It's like we talked about with Winnebago. They send you a rolling glider. They put the electric motor in, or they send you a gas one if they have to, and they can sell the engine, convert it over, and they wire it up correctly. The speedometer still works, or they put a new speedometer in, whatever it takes. It's pretty cool stuff.
Between this and Proterra, I'm looking nice. I'm liking how it looks.
Yeah, Proterra's been in it for a minute. I like them.
Yeah. That bus is kind of fun to ride on too. It's weirdly fast for that size. It feels sturdy when it hits.
It's an EV.
It
do what EVs do.
When he pressed the gas, I had a privilege of riding in. When he pressed the gas, you could feel the lurch, but it wasn't X or S type of lurch. But you can tell.
It's a multi-ton bus.
I mean, you could tell it could outpace another school bus off the line, but
right.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
So here we've got a Nikola article, and Nikola's mobile charging trailer makes a video debut, and that's kind of cool. So the mobile charging trailer can be equipped with 1 or 2 chargers, each offering 175 kilowatts of fast charging. All right. So that's kind of slow for a truck. When you look at what the Mega Charger and what Volvo and Freightliner and everybody else is doing with their trucks, they're over 200 kilowatts. So
Right, but it's mobile.
But can you?
Fair enough, it's mobile. So now if the truck somehow ends up in club static, which he should never have done, you can pull this up and recover him without a tow truck.
I think this is a great move on Nikola's part to actually divert from their fiasco earlier, to be like, hey, we can come and get your truck up and running within so many odd minutes.
Yeah.
So
I guess the back is batteries and the front is the unit, or they probably have them mirrored so it's balanced. Probably batteries here and a charger here, and the other one is flipped. So the charger's here, the batteries are here.
Yes. But that would be cool. Just to be able to, we could send somebody to charge you to get to your next mega charger or something. That's a good move on Nikola. If it can be multi-used for almost any EV, semi or smaller,
you know, that'd be kind of cool is if Josh can get them for patent infringement and take them full circle. All right, let's just mute this. All right.
They put it on flat ground this time.
The mobile charging trailer delivers a mobile charge.
The music is louder than the guy. So we got a mobile charger trailer. Well, they got the pay right there. They just took one and stuck it in a trailer. The payment should be handled before they get it to you, unless this is going to be sitting out in a field somewhere.
This also worked well with Rivian if you're out
somewhere. I like tritium chargers. They do good.
Well, this can't just be sitting out in the field somewhere, because how is this itself getting charged back up itself?
It's like those. It's like those.
It looks like they're charging it from the grid.
Yeah.
Right, and then they take it wherever it needs to go.
That makes sense.
To get and bring it back. Yeah. Like those portable toilets they have up sometimes. They get service.
So my question is this: if that's how they're doing it,
yeah,
do they in turn transport these with another electric vehicle to get to the other electric vehicle that needs?
I would hope so, because if you do it with a gas vehicle, that's really empty for like. I thought there would be more in there.
I thought that thing would be full of batteries.
Right. So this is.
Wait. They did only say 175 kilowatts. Well, no, wait. But that should be the output, right? So
right, the output of that. So one or two chargers.
It should be full of batteries.
So this is just like this is like a porta potty for trucks, because
why would you have all that wasted space?
Like I said, you have all that wasted space. There are no batteries, and you got to hook it up to the grid. So this would be like when Tesla knows that they did this before without the batteries, where they knew that holiday traffic was coming, and they would pull a truck full of mobile superchargers, and they would just park the trailer and hook the trailer up to the grid. And now what they do is that same trailer has a mega pack on it, and instead of the regular superchargers, it's got urban superchargers on it, and so that one truck is like servicing like 10 Teslas at once. It's incredible. So, I mean, even if Josh wanted to get him, I don't think he would have to, because it's just a charger in a box. The reason I pulled this one up is I thought it was chargers and batteries.
Yeah, if that trailer was full of batteries. I didn't watch the video.
I just looked at the picture and I read the description. And
if that trailer was full of batteries and you're using the grid to recharge all those batteries back to the trailer full of batteries, okay, that would make sense. And then at that point, you could charge up multiple trucks at that point if they're stranded. You could do a lot with that.
Yeah. All right. So Joel says the fourth is an extra, so they were in safety margin. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The fourth one is fine, but you know their whole thing is once you run out of margin, then you're down to like the emergency. Like if you only have 2 chutes, you could do it, but you're out of margin at that point. So I can understand their concern there. My take: retrofits are okay. But design from the ground up is going to be safer, more efficient. It's still a fast way to market. Absolutely. On trucks and buses, though, you have more room to work with, so they're not as handicapped as a passenger. Well, that is a passenger vehicle, but as a small passenger vehicle, where every inch counts. And it still does matter at that large size, but it's not as critical as a compact car that's a conversion versus a
But I
bus
do
that's a
like
conversion.
designing from the ground up.
Absolutely.
Specifically for that. That's going to be the most efficient way to do it.
Absolutely.
Because, like when Tesla first started off, they learned the hard way that taking a Lotus Elise and trying to convert it was a terrible idea, that they would have been much better off building from the ground up. But they had to learn that lesson the hard way. And that's a lesson learned.
It is. And Derek says, this isn't like the downhill rolling video. Well, it ended up being that way. I thought it was a mobile charging trailer, and it's a portable charger trailer that you still have to hook up to the grid. So, yeah, it kind of was. But like you say, David, you could put power walls in the back, or if you could find some power packs, same thing. You just put them in there, and you're good to go. That truck rolled up a gas tank. I didn't notice that. Where at?
Oh my goodness!
Uh-oh.
Don't tell me that that's what happened.
So they might as well have a generator.
The one they actually showed in motion, that was a gas one. No.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if the one that rolled uphill had a gas engine, and that's why they coasted it so you didn't hear it idling. But here's one rolling up, so maybe let's see. Does this one have a gas engine? That's a Nikola truck, so hopefully not.
That doesn't mean it's not gas.
That's what I said, but hopefully not. Yeah. And there's this one.
Maybe it's that one? Maybe that one.
Well, that one's charging, so it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it might be a hybrid.
It could be a hybrid, yes.
Let's say it's a hybrid.
A plug-in hybrid.
You can't say it's. I've had this issue when I was at Electrify Austin. You can't say it's one electric and it's half electric.
Right.
So the latest studies found that hybrids are more likely to catch fire than gas only cars or EVs. So they're the most likely ones to actually catch fire, are the hybrids.
Between the battery and
because they have more things to go wrong. So they're taking everything that's electric plus everything that's gas and they're combining it, and so now you have more things that can go wrong.
Or rolling a fuel tank over a battery.
Yeah. So today, I'm going to go buy some tools at the hardware store. For the folks that are members of the channel, you know what I'm doing and why I need some new tools, because I don't have all the tools I need. And if you're a Patreon member, I forgot to post it there this time, so I'll make sure to post them in both places at the same time next time, but I'll post it there after I get back from the hardware store, what I'm doing in the Patreon members section. And what's this? Robert says, saw one EV charger powered by diesel. Yeah. Tesla has done that in the past too, where they actually had it powered with a generator. But these are temporary installs usually, because the way I put it is, was that a private chat where I put that, Marcus? People aren't going to be, any business that can afford this equipment is not foolish enough to put that much money into the fuel and maintenance of a diesel generator versus hooking it up to the grid if this thing is going to be there for any length of time. If it's just a weekend, it might not be cost effective to get the permits and run the cable and do all that. So for a weekend, you might see something powered by a diesel generator, but long term, you're going to see it plumbed into the grid correctly or solar powered and running at a reduced power if this clouds, rather than burning fuel to charge an electric car on a permanent basis.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense to do that long term.
Yeah, I don't remember where I said that. Did I speak it, or did I write it down in a private chat? Did I type it somewhere? I'm running all week long. So, in addition to that video that the members and soon-to-be patrons will know that I'm working on, I'm also working on, hopefully before I get my 10.10 beta update, I'm working on a video. I've already filmed it. I just need to cut it and get it ready to go, where I compare FSD Beta 10.9 on the old maps and FSD Beta 10.9 on the new maps. And I managed to get an FSD Beta in the rain video there as well. So I don't know if I'm going to make them all in one video or if I'll do old maps and new maps as one video and then in the rain as a separate video. But we'll take a look. If it's not too long, I'll smush them all together. If it's too long, then I'll put the rain as a separate video, because it's kind of my thing anyway at this point to try FSD beta in the rain.
That's pretty dope.
Absolutely. So let's see. Derek wants the video to check the gas tank. Oh, yes. Let me open it back up. Sweet. And copy and paste. Oh, you already found it? Well, there it is again. There you go. And with that, we'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks again to the patrons and members, especially the new ones here. And see you next week. Yes, I did update the musical tracks. I still have the old ones, but I've got some fresh ones for you guys for now. There we go. Uploaded. Great. Next. Close.